Go ahead, Delilah. Where's the record notice?
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello and welcome to the South Burlington Development Review Board meeting for September 1st, 2020. My name is Matt Cota, the chair of the Development Review Board. With me is Brian Sullivan, Don Philibert, Jim Langan, John Wilking, Mark Baer, and Marla Keene, our Development Review Planner, and Delilah Hall, our Zoning Administrator. The first item on the agenda tonight is additions, deletions, or changes in the order of agenda items. The staff or the board have any additions, deletions, or changes? Hearing none, right to announcements. I'd like to begin the announcements by saying that thank you for those in attendance, those on the phone, and those watching through the GoToMeeting app, and those who will watch this later after it's recorded. This is like a regular meeting in that anyone who wishes to will have an opportunity to both listen and speak. This meeting is being recorded and will be made available. Anyone who wishes to participate in this hearing should sign a virtual sign-in sheet. You can do that a couple different ways. If you're using your tablet or phone or computer using the GoToMeeting app, there's a chat box that you can enter your name in and say what particular agenda item you're interested in. Or you can also send an email to Marla Keene at mkeene@sburl.com, or to me, Matt Cota, mcota@sburl.com, to let us know. And it's important to do that, to sign in this virtual sign-in sheet in order to be considered a participant, should you want to obtain party status and to appeal a decision made by this board. Similar to when we meet in person, you'll have the opportunity to comment during the public comment period and after the agenda item is discussed with the applicant. In a similar situation, you can go to the chat box and enter your comment. You can send an email, or you can raise your virtual hand when I call for public comments. I ask you though, if you're not speaking, to put your phone or your computer on mute, mostly so we don't hear the ambient sounds, the ball game in the background or the barking dogs. Appreciate that. Are there any other announcements from the board or staff? Hearing none, I would go to agenda item number 3, which is any comment. Sorry, go ahead. Is that you, John? Okay, so next I would go to comments and questions from the public not related to the agenda.
We need to mute all.
Matt, are you caller 1?
Hi, can you hear me all right? Is it my phone causing the problem? All right, let's fix that. One moment.
We're getting a little bit of echo from you, Matt.
Okay, can you hear me now all right? Marla? Delilah, can you hear me? No? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Shaky, huh? All right, let's try it another way.
Matt, are you by phone?
I think he is doing by phone. But I can't tell. A lot of callers right now, and I can't tell who's who.
Yeah.
I briefly muted everyone, but then I knew we were trying to do a test.
So anyone who's calling in by phone, can you say your name?
Tim McKenzie.
Thanks, Tim. I'll edit you. Tim is caller 4.
Hi, Marla, can you hear me okay
Bill Brothers.
Bill, you're caller 2. All right, thank you. And then Matt, go ahead and say something again.
Hi, Marla. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we have one more unidentified caller. Can you say your name?
It might be me, Marla, Jim.
No, we've got you already.
Okay.
All right, well, they're not saying anything and there's no feedback coming from them, whoever they are, so they can just be caller number 7.
Great.
Okay, thanks for your
Okay.
patience, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we're still at the agenda item number 3, which is public comments, questions from the public not related to the agenda, not any specific agenda item. If you have a specific agenda item, please enter your name in the chat box. Excuse me, if you have a public comment not related to the agenda, please enter your name in the chat box or say your name and I can take a tally. Okay, not hearing anyone say their name, wishing to make a public comment that's unrelated to the agenda, and not seeing anyone write that in the chat box. I will now move on to agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 4 is final plat application SD 2028 of SBRC Properties LLC for reapproval of a previously approved plan to subdivide a 27.8 acre parcel into 2 lots of 6.2 acres and 21.2 acres at 430 Meadowland Drive. Who is here for the applicant?
David Marshall from Civil Engineering Associates.
Hi, David.
Tim McKenzie from South Burlington Realty.
Hi, Tim.
And
this
Adam
is
Adam Buska representing Buska Movers.
Hey, Adam, how are you?
Good.
So Adam, Tim, and David, could I ask you to raise your right hand, as this is a preliminary plat and final plat application, and swear to tell the truth upon penalty of perjury? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You? Aye.
Great. Thank you very much. So we're here again. SBRC Properties submitted a final plat application for reapproval. This was done back in 2019 to subdivide a 27.8 acre parcel into 2 lots of 6.2 acres and 21.2 acres at 430 Meadowland Drive. This subdivision had already received approval back in 2019, but the Mylar was not recorded within the 180 days that are when development regulations required. No application extension was requested. And the approval expired. So we're here again on a project that was approved. This does happen from time to time. And to hear from the applicants. You want to discuss, David or Tim or Adam, what this project is? Give a short summary.
Absolutely, Dave Marshall here. So in this particular case, Buska Movers is proposing to construct their new facility on this particular lot 1G within the Meadowland Business Park. And we had appeared before the board previously for a site plan approval, which ultimately was approved in conjunction also with this proposed subdivision of the parcel. Subsequent to that, we started our discussions with the State of Vermont Wetlands Division and found that we needed to have much different driveway configuration, at which point, once we had worked through all of that with the state, we came back to the city with what ultimately the state would accept. Did go through that particular site plan approval process, but in the meantime, the original subdivision approval had lapsed, and we're back here to complete the record with regard to the proposed subdivision of this particular parcel, which will allow Buska Movers to be situated on its own lot, adjacent to what is actually lot 2, which is the building that has multiple commercial condominiums, businesses located just to the east on the plan that you're seeing on your screen there.
So having seen this and approved this last year, I don't have any specific questions. There's a draft decision in the packet, which I'm sure the applicant has a chance to see. Do you have any questions about that draft decision?
That is acceptable. Thank you.
Okay. Does the board have any questions regarding the draft decision or this project in general for the applicant or for staff?
No, I don't. All set.
Okay, hearing none, is there someone in the public that would like to make a comment regarding this preliminary final plat application?
I'm Stephen Chwarrier. I'm the owner of the 472 Meadowland Suite 3 as a company bat fitter. I just see the plans the first time. Hi guys.
Hi, Stephen. Go ahead.
It's the first time I see this drawing. I don't see anything in special. The only question I have from the condominium where we're located on the east side, you have no entry or no interaction with the new project. It's totally separate. I just want to have this answer replied. That's the only things I need to know.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. David, would you like to answer that question?
I'm not sure if I fully understood the question, but there are 2 points of access for this particular property. One of them is on the west side or northwest coming off of Meadowland Drive. And then there's one egress route that runs along the east side of the property, parallel to the Lot 2 condominium building, and comes out as a separate egress point one way out on the Meadowland Drive. It is separated quite a ways from the driveway servicing Lot 2, but nonetheless, thank you, Delilah, for pointing that out as far as at least the earlier arrow on the right side of the lot. Yep, thank you right there. That represents probably the closest activity to the Lot 2 condominium building. There is landscaping and fencing that's proposed between the new Busca Movers building and the existing Lot 2 structure, as a separation and trying to just be friendly neighbors with regards to good fences. I think
Perfect. That's answered my question. That's the only ones I have. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stephen, for participating. Is there any other questions from the public or comments? Hearing none and seeing none in the chat box, I move that we close SD 2028 of 430 Meadowland Drive. Do I have a second?
Second. John.
Seconded by John Wilking. And as we do in all these online meetings, we do a roll call. Brian?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And Matt, the chair, votes aye. And this is closed. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.
Now,
Thank you.
Opening up agenda item number 5. Agenda item 5 is continued preliminary final plat application SD 2002 of CEA Properties LLC to construct a 2-story office building of 7,200 square feet each on existing 3.1 acre lot currently developed with a 7,200 square foot office building, 1,000 square foot storage building at 10 Mansfield Lane. Who is here for the applicant?
Dave Marshall from Civil Engineering Associates.
Hey, Dave. Good to see you again. So this is a project we've heard, and we've continued it a couple of times.
Yep.
I'm reading staff notes, and I think the concern I interpret from the staff notes is we don't want to just keep continuing it in perpetuity. We'd like to have some, to maintain our schedule, understanding if this project is changing, are we going to see materials? Should we be continuing it, or should we, when you're ready, rewarn it and start fresh again? So I assume you don't have any more revised materials to present tonight. You just still want a continuance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I'm inclined to say yes for continuance, but to also tell you that, sympathetic to staff concerns, if we don't have something on, to discuss, that we just rewarn this when you're ready to proceed. That's my personal opinion, because I know, there's a lot of work. We're very fortunate in South Burlington. We have a lot of people that want to work here, live here, and play here, and we have a lot of stuff on the agenda. So that would be my preference, but I'll let the board say what they think we should or shouldn't do with regard to continuing this matter.
I don't recall ever stopping somebody, so I would continue, John.
Thanks, John.
This is Jim. I also don't have an issue with continuing.
Nor do I.
Right.
This is John.
So we have October 20th set as a date for continuance. I would move that we continue SD 2010, SD 2002 of 10 Mansfield View Lane, for October 20th. Do I have a second?
Second, John.
Seconded by John. Next on in roll call, Brian,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and Matt Cotto votes aye, and it passes 6-0 in favor of a continuance until October 20th. David, we'll see you then.
Oh, thank you for your time.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is item number 6, which is continued in preliminary final plan application SD 2020 of Heritage Aviation Incorporated to amend a previously approved plan for an airport complex. The amendment consists of constructing a 24,674 square foot addition to an existing 17,660 square foot hangar, reconfiguring the adjacent parking area and related site improvements at 1130 Airport Drive. Who is here for the applicant? Hello?
Sorry, I should turn my mic on. Derek Reed, sorry.
Hey, Derek, how are you?
Good, good.
Larry,
But,
Derek, Larry, and Carolyn. Anyone else with you? Okay. Carolyn, Derek, Larry, you've been sworn in because this is a continued preliminary and final plat application. You've seen the 2 pages of, oops, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab the right one. Thank you for that. Okay. You've seen the staff notes. I thought we'd step through them for a bit and see if we can't close the hearing tonight. The first comments were about the 15-inch trees to be transplanted from an existing parking lot island being displaced by the building addition to a new parking lot island. In the current plan, these trees proposed to be removed entirely, and smaller trees are proposed in the new parking lot island. Staff wants to know why this change was made. Based on the site visit, the 2 trees appear to be healthy. Staff consider it to be desirable to retain them if possible. Is it possible to retain them, and why are they being removed? Carolyn, do you want to answer that? Or Derek?
Sure. Derek, do you want me to do it?
sure, go ahead, yes.
Just the size of the trees, because they're so large and in sand, they'd have to be hand dug. And we just didn't feel that there was a whole lot of chance that they were going to survive and do well. So that's how the decision was made.
Okay. Does staff or board have any comments regarding that?
Carolyn's the expert. My take is if you could use a Vermeer and tree spade and do it, great. But if the answer is they'll die, then I guess that's the answer.
Yeah, tree spade is actually, it wouldn't work with a tree spade just because of all the sandy soil. The root ball would fall apart. So they'd have to be hand dug, and it would just be a really kind of a messy situation.
Okay. The next comment regarding miscellaneous approval MS 2001 includes the following stipulation. The applicant shall be responsible for tracking both expended budget and progress on the plan. This information shall be submitted at the time of the site plan application for individual projects. Should the cost of an individual segment of this plan exceed the required minimum landscaping budget for a project at the airport, the applicant may bank the excess to apply for a future project. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to comply with this condition of MS 2001 by providing the expended budget if the current proposal is approved. Staff notes that the board closed SD 2021 on 1150 Airport Drive on August 4th, but has not yet issued a decision. The staff considers the board should require compliance with this condition prior to issuing of a zoning permit rather than as part of the application. What is the applicant's response to that staff comment?
We're certainly will track budget, and we appreciate that. It sounds like the request is that we're waiting. You're buying us a little time for the approval of the landscape master plan. Is that how I'm reading this?
Not exactly. Master plan is, we need to step away just as a general group of people away from using the word master plan because that's a technical term. let's call it the overall landscaping plan. The overall landscaping plan has been approved, and one of the conditions is that at the time of site plan application, the progress on the budget be reported. You've obviously already made your site plan application, but it doesn't make sense to track budget on something when no budget has yet been expended. So we're saying for this first application, let's push that timeline to the site, to the zoning permit, as opposed to having it lead with the zoning, with the site plan.
Okay, that sounds good. So yes, we will provide a updated budget at the time of the zoning permit application.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Derek. Number 3, the proposed snow storage areas are along the western boundary of the site in proximity to 3 mature trees. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant the distance between these trees and the edge of the pavement, and if less than 10 feet, recommends the board require the applicant to provide protection for these trees in form of landscaping boulders. Are they less than 10 feet? Can you tell us that?
So the areas of that we defined as a snow storage, the trunk itself is greater than 10 feet. There is one tree that is closer than 10 feet, but we didn't include that in the snow storage area that was designated. And I guess we just wanted to highlight that this is currently where the snow is stored under the current situation. So our request is to not add boulders.
Right, because you've got 10 feet, is what you're saying?
Yes,
for this one area, but that's not where you're going to have snow storage in the future?
Correct. That it's the one area we didn't. Okay. Yes.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Are there any other questions from staff or the board for the applicant? Any questions from the applicant to us? Are there any comments from the public regarding this project? Checking the chat box, seeing none. And hearing none, I would move that we close SD 2020 1130 Airport Drive. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. This is Dawn.
Seconded by Dawn. Roll call. Brian?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And that Coda chair votes aye, and SD 2020 1130 Airport Drive is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Derek and Larry.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Now move on to the seventh item on the agenda, which is a sketch plan application, SD 2027, of TPG Architecture to amend a previously approved plan for a 101,838 square foot shopping center in 2 buildings. The amendment consists of constructing a 3,250 square foot financial institution with a remote drive-up ATM and canopy at 570 Shelburne Street. Who is here for the applicant?
Good evening. Josh from Stonefield Engineering is here.
Josh from Stonefield. Josh, what's your last name?
Klein, K-L-I-N-E.
Josh Klein from Stonefield. Great. Anyone else with you, Josh?
I'll probably be the main presenter. We do have a representative from the landlord or the owner of the shopping center, as well as an architect, if there's any questions that kind of are more related to them.
What are their names?
We have Kelly. Kelly, you can introduce yourself, and then Angie, I think if you or any other representatives from Acadia would like to speak.
Hi, my name is Kelly Mejia from TPG Architecture.
Hi, Kelly. For our minute taking, could you spell your last name?
M-E-J-I-A.
Thank you, Kelly. And Angie?
Yes, Angie Cho, A-N-G-I-E-C-H-O. I'm here on behalf of Acadia.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Joe. Let you know, and everyone else listening, that this is a sketch plan application. This is not a formal hearing. There's no swearing in that's happening here. The sketch plan is a high-level review and discussion where an applicant receives feedback from the Development Review Board on major elements of the project before it's fully designed. During this meeting, the board may provide oral guidance to the applicant, which constitutes the board's determination that the application meets the purposes of the land development regulations of South Burlington. These comments are here to guide the applicant to a later application that meets the LDR requirements and contributes to the goals of the comprehensive plan, but it is not a formal hearing, does not result in a binding decision. There will be no vote. The board may choose to continue the meeting at a later date. If there are questions that remain to be examined, a future date will be announced prior to concluding this item for the evening. Upon conclusion of the sketch plan meeting, an applicant who wishes to move forward with their project will have to submit a complete application. The next level of review includes additional public notices and a formal public hearing. So, Josh, maybe you can give us a snapshot of what you've got planned or what you'd like to build here on this property.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you again for having us tonight. So as you can see, we have the aerial on the screen, which is of the Gateway Shopping Center. So I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar with the area. We have, the city of Burlington actually is across Shelburne Street from us to the west. To the north, there's a kind of a mix of commercial residential uses. And then behind us to the east, we have a few additional kind of residential uses and potentially, I think, a senior living complex. And then, as you can see, our site is bordered by Interstate 189. That is an off-ramp that kind of connects to Shelburne Street. So I know the landlord has kind of been discussing this project for a long time, or has been looking into this for a long time. We're here kind of representing the future tenant, which would be Chase Bank at this location. And what they're looking to do is, redevelop kind of an underutilized portion of the out parcel parking area. So if you put up, this is, I believe, the kind of the Alta or a record plan of kind of what we're looking at. So kind of just to the right of the main driveway, which is a signalized intersection with Shelburne Street, there's this kind of a parking area that exists today, correct, right, where it's kind of shown in red. So what we're looking to do is take that area and kind of develop a new kind of Chase Bank with a remote drive-through ATM. What's really nice about Chase Bank is that they're going to come in. In general, it's a low traffic generating use. It's a nice convenience for the community. What they've looked to do and what we've done as part of this design is really take into account the various levels of the zoning regulations and the city requirements. So, we're located within a traffic overlay district, a transit overlay district, an urban design overlay district. This is a PUD, a planned unit development. So there's a lot of different layers. And, over the course, our group has been kind of looking at this with Chase over the course of the last, 6 months. We've had, multiple conversations with Marla. We've had, our team has had, meetings, virtual meetings at the time. And then even Acadia's team has had multiple kind of conversations and meetings before that. So we're really excited to finally get this in front of everyone tonight. We think it's going to be a great addition to this area. We think it is going to provide a really nice kind of anchor or corner to the shopping center, and really going to kind of enhance some of the visuals you're going to see in this area. So that's kind of the overview. I think getting a little bit more into the specifics, it is a 3,333 square foot building. The primary entrance, or one of the primary entrances, is going to be facing Shelburne Street. We have provided kind of direct access. Now the access doesn't go kind of straight page north to south. It kind of goes to the right, and that's really to connect to that crosswalk. There's a kind of a curb ramp there that we're kind of looking to connect to and provide a kind of keeping that connection kind of close to that intersection, or where that kind of crosswalk connects to our site as well as to Shelburne Street. And then you'll kind of see some of the other improvements include, we have 30 parking spaces, a remote drive-through ATM with 4 queuing spaces. And then what we've looked to done, kind of in keeping in mind the city requirements, is you can kind of see we've looked to maintain some interior landscaping as well, and kind of keep some distance in between the parking to give us a little bit of area to, kind of look to do a little bit additional landscaping kind of within our lease parcel. Just for reference, we're looking at about, I believe our lease area is roughly an acre, where the site's about 9.75 acres. So we're a very kind of small piece of a much larger shopping center development. However, we think we're going to have a really nice kind of, visual impact, as well as be kind of a nice kind of benefit to the community. I'm
All right. Thank you very much, Josh.
happy to
This
go
would
into
be a
any
good time for us to step into the staff comments where you have the ability to offer your feedback and the board based on the research the staff has done. So staff comment number 1, which is talking about coverages, lot dimensions, setbacks. Project is in, the applicant is proposing to decrease the overall coverage to bring the property closer to compliance. It does not achieve the maximum allowable of 70%. They are proposing to maintain the existing front setback and front setback coverage nonconformities. Since in all cases, the existing nonconformity is either unchanged or reduced, and where unchanged, it is unchanged because no notifications are being made to the nonconforming portion of the lot, and the project otherwise strives to meet the regulations and purposes of the urban design overlay district. Staff recommends the board allow the proposed coverages and setbacks, which we are, of course, because it is a PUD. So you've got the staff endorsement. We are reducing coverage. Does the board have any comments regarding that? Hearing none, moving on to number 2, regarding the urban overlay district. The standards pertaining to entries require that at least one entry faces the primary road, serve as a principal entry, and have a direct separate walkway to the primary road. This walkway shall be at least 8 feet in width and may meander for design purposes, but must serve as a pedestrian-oriented access. The proposed walkway does not extend directly from the primary road to the entrance, and instead extends from the portion of the existing sidewalk along the site entry drive. Staff considers a direct sidewalk would better foster accessibility from the street, and once the front setback coverage calculation is updated, would likely be allowable in terms of lot and front setback coverage. Staff recommends the board advise the applicant to realign the sidewalk so that it extends to directly the sidewalk on Shelburne Street, and to make modifications to the existing hedge and fence to accommodate that change. Josh, what do you think of that suggestion from staff?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we want to work with the board and work with the staff. So I think we could definitely come up with a solution that kind of goes straight to the sidewalk, kind of directly in front of us. Our only intent with kind of the location is, again, to kind of align with that crosswalk across Shelburne Street. So to kind of provide a connection to that kind of pedestrian-friendly point. But again, we're more than open to kind of work with both the staff and the board on relocating that if desired.
Okay.
Where is
the board on accessibility? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's John. Where is the bus stop that's sitting right there? Is it aligned with the crosswalk or no? I don't recall.
Is the bus stop further south, Josh?
I believe the closest bus stop is maybe like 300 feet. I think it's to the north of the site.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just to the north. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 300 feet to the north.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
The bus stop is up here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Or sorry.
Yep, right there.
Here.
Yep.
And then they're here. That makes sense.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Stops at the next curb cut going in.
Yeah.
And as someone who has used your parking lot as a place to put my car when I've taken the bus to my job in Montpelier, this wouldn't really conflict with that. I don't know if that's an allowable or if I just broke your rules, but this is on the other side of that entry into the mall. So I don't really see it taking that purpose, even if that purpose is allowed or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more closer to like the Subway and the Starbucks and the Chipotle, right?
Correct.
Yeah, on that side. Yeah. Okay.
Matt, this is Jim. Just going back to the second comment there. I mean, I see what the regs say, and I do think it's important what the applicant is trying to do is trying to direct to that crosswalk. Just as I don't know if we'd want. I mean, I think that's going to be the safest place. I mean, as someone who's made that walk across Shelburne Road, I think the design should feed people that way instead of sort of where that location is on Shelburne Road. A lot of people are not. Then most people are going to be crossing rather than walking south. well, maybe not, but we definitely want to direct people to that crosswalk.
Jim, I would agree with you, and it catches both groups. I actually don't agree with the staff comments on this one.
Okay, so let's go back to that. So if the sidewalk as it currently exists extends directly to the sidewalk on Shelburne Street, that doesn't achieve what you're talking about, Jim. Is that right?
I mean, I'm trying to look at the overhead here on my computer too. I mean, I think you'd exit on the street and then you'd have to probably go a little bit north to then get to the crosswalk, instead of sort of coming right sort of directly out onto it.
Right. So what you're saying is there'd be more traffic that's going across the street to the mall on the other side, the commercial properties on the other side, than going north up that road where then it butts into 189.
Probably in either way. I think either way will get you out to the main street, and it will get you out in a way where you're directed to where to cross. So I see what the regs say. I see what the staff comments are referring to, but I think the goal should be to get people to that crosswalk.
So you're saying as it's designed, it achieves that? Is that what you're saying, Jim? As we're seeing it? Okay. All right. I buy that.
This is Marla. When we wrote this, we kind of went back and forth between what Jim's saying and then the idea that there is a pretty significant residential neighborhood just south of 189. I think either argument is valid. And that's why
that's not a great walk.
Many members.
Yeah, because you got to cross where the 189 meets Shelburne Road, and then where Swift Street is. That's a difficult transition, but so is cross Shelburne Road.
And we're talking about 20 feet or 25 feet or something. It's not significant. Yeah. I would still tie it to the crosswalk.
You would keep it as it is, as designed right now, John?
I would. Yeah, I would. I think that's the right answer.
Okay. Okay. Moving on to number 3.
I was going to say Mark's the expert.
I'm the expert? No. But I do agree. I mean, I don't think that there's a convenient solution that solves all these problems. And I think this is sort of like the best compromise.
That's a good point.
It's a horrible intersection to try to use as a pedestrian. So I think pushing them to an actual painted, signalized crosswalk is the best you're going to get here.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for that. Number 3, based on total existing retail square footage of 98,510 square feet and a land use of a shopping center, staff estimates the existing trip generation is 279 trips per PM peak hour. The proposed bank increases trips by 7 to 286. The applicant may not increase the number of trips without providing mitigation for the difference between the proposed total and the budget, in this case, 127 trips. Since based on this initial estimate, the project already exceeds the budget and trips are proposed to increase, traffic study and mitigation pursuant to 10.02H and Appendix B and the LDRs will be required. Staff recommends the board direct the applicant to prepare a detailed traffic study and authorize a technical review of the traffic study to be completed prior to the next application for the project. So that's before preliminary plat. Is that agreeable to the applicant? Josh?
So Matt, I just want to interject here. Josh correctly pointed out that there was a previous decision where the board sort of, unfortunately without a lot of explanation, said the property had an existing trip generation of 488 trips. This was before some modifications were made to modify the buildings. It used to be, how there's 2 buildings on the shopping center today. It used to be 1 building and they demolished a section in between them. So at one point in time, the property did have 488 trips. And as the board knows, in the traffic overlay district, you have what you have, and if you go over, you're kicked back to, you get kicked back to go, and you're limited by your lot area. So in this case, the board could make the interpretation that the applicant has 488 trips, but they would still have to demonstrate how many trips the total PUD is generating in order to demonstrate that they're not over that. So a little bit.
Are the two numbers, one number is 279 and the other number is 400 and what?
So the previous decision said that the project generates 488 trips. Our estimate in the office, roughly, because we don't have a good sense of the square footage of each tenant, we don't really track that, is that the project currently generates 279. So that being below 488, they would be okay, but our suggestion is that the 279 is just our internal estimate. They should provide a accurate estimate based on, actual detailed knowledge of the shopping center, and show that they don't get above the 488.
So Marla,
the 400, go ahead, John.
So Marla, the 488 had been approved for sure, and I assume got paid for it at some point.
Yeah, there's no justification for where that number came from, but the decision says the project generates 488 trips.
So
did it come
we
from
don't
the
know.
multifamily residential housing? Is that when it happened?
That's not part of the PUD. The PUD consists of
it's not. Okay.
And the Chipotle building.
When did we come up with the 400 number? What was that attached to? Don't know. I mean, how long ago was that?
2003. I want to say. Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2003.
So what's the applicant's position on this, Josh?
So we've kind of taken a look at this, and we've gone through some of the old records and old decisions, and we wanted to kind of break it, I guess, into two categories, and hopefully, our goal would be to be able to kind of move forward in a direction that I think is kind of sensible for what's been approved in the past, and kind of taking in mind kind of comparing what's out there today and kind of what we're proposing. And so we kind of took a look at it, and there is a 488 number that was mentioned. There isn't really much feedback on where it came from. So what we've kind of done over the last couple of days is really looked at what was originally approved, and then what was approved as part of the amendment, and then kind of what are we proposing. So the original approval that kind of dates back, I believe it's 1999, was for 130,000 square foot building. And then there was a few amendments along the way, but the latest kind of approval for the two building shopping center was for 107,834 square feet. So that's kind of the latest. That was what was approved, the PUD, for what was kind of built out there. And then for reference, what's operating today based on record plans is about 101,830 square feet. So about 6,000 less than what was originally kind of approved as part of this project. And so if you kind of take that difference, and what we're proposing is a 3,330 square foot bank, we're still kind of below that previous approval. So what the difficulty, we have when we're looking at it, and we were kind of we sent an email and reached out to Marla to kind of get some of her feedback before, and we'll continue obviously to work with her after, is, that the site today, the Chase Bank, is not going to have any significant or any adverse impact on the roadway conditions. It's a very low trip generating use. You can kind of see with what Marla's kind of preliminary numbers are. Our preliminary numbers are right around there. And based on the latest IT trip generation, a drive-in bank or this type of facility is an extremely low generating use, kind of in comparison to what would be permitted or what you see kind of in this corridor. And so by bringing this use in and having this use as part of the shopping center, you're really not going to get any impact or any significant impact to roadway conditions out there. So we were, obviously time is a big concern of the applicant, and making sure, we can kind of have a really successful application with the development review board. And so we wanted to kind of confirm if that interpretation that, we're kind of looking at what was approved out there today, and kind of what we're proposing, how we're kind of within what that is in terms of kind of building area, and what is generated from that would be kind of acceptable for the city.
Well, so if I could step back, Josh, thank you for that. Marla, the 7 increase, that's a plug and play number for PM peak hour generations. I mean, a bank of this size with a drive-in, is that's where that number comes from, the increase?
There's several different ways you can calculate it. You can consider the whole thing as a shopping center. You can consider the uses individually. And that's where we'd be looking for the applicant to sort of make their case as to what they think it should be. If you consider the uses individually, then you have to get into internal capture, and that gets kind of messy. It may be best to go with a, just a single number. What's the total square footage as a shopping center? What's the number? And that's what staff did, but it sounds like Josh is coming up with similar numbers.
So I guess what I'm getting at is adding the square footage, the 3,000 square footage to the shopping center, that gets you the 7, or is it looking at the use of this size bank with the drive-in gets you the 7, the increase in 7?
The way we calculated it, it was looking at the square footage. One could.
So you look at the square footage of everything, that gets you 7 more count. Well, okay.
It seems to me, Matt, it's John, that part of the problem is that, and I think Josh hit it, was that what's been approved and what got built are two different things. Planning and zoning doesn't know really what we have out there today, other than a square footage number. It would be nice if Acadia could do the math and say, here's what the trip generations should be out of the 488 we have used 279, whatever the number is, and here's how we got there. I can't imagine that that's a very big or elaborate or time-consuming project if you can use the ITEs against each of the current uses.
And it certainly would help, as Matt again, if this parcel was to be developed or redeveloped further. And I understand your point, Josh. This is not a big generator of traffic, but I would like to have some sort of. I mean, these are two very different numbers, 400 plus and 279. So I would be in favor of coming up with a some sort of traffic study, so we have a better determination on what our peak PM trip count is.
Matt, do you think we need a full traffic study, or do we simply need for them to generate what the current traffic usage should be according to
Yeah, I think we need that to compare to what the staff has generated. I don't know if we need we may. I don't want to say we don't need it, but I don't want to say that we need a technical review at this point.
So Matt,
a thoughtful analysis.
Yeah, so my take is this is almost undoubtedly approvable if they have 488 trips, and we're not even 2/3 of the way through those. So it's not, to me, we don't need to put them through hell to do this. It just seems to me that we need a baseline so that we know where the project is and where the project could go.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Josh, is that something you could do before preliminary plat or at preliminary plat?
Yes, that is something we could do as part of the preliminary plat process.
Okay, excellent. Access and circulation. Under existing conditions, the project area consists of a paved parking lot. As the vehicle enters the shopping center from Shelburne Street entrance and turns south towards the project area, there are no breaks in the curb until the far end of the project area. Under proposed conditions, the applicant is adding 2 additional breaks in the curb for a total of 3 in the project area. Staff comment number 4, the first of these breaks is within 2 car lengths of the turn and is for the purpose of dumpster pickup. Staff considers this location to be problematic in terms of access because any trash truck will block the entire southern portion of the shopping center. Staff recommends the board discuss with the applicant whether they actually need a dumpster for the proposed use or whether the new building can use totes or share existing dumpsters with other buildings. If the applicant feels strongly that they need a dumpster, staff considers it needs to be in a different location. Josh, do you need a dumpster?
Yes, we do. The tenant does require as part of their operation to have a dumpster, to have an enclosure. Again, we're open to, working with staff on finding a new location. I mean, just to give a little background on this location, the idea was to kind of keep it out of sight from the public right away, kind of tuck it behind the building, and kind of keep the building close to the road. Having that separate curb cut really allows during like off-peak hours. I mean, again, there's not going to be it's not going to be a frequent pickup at this location, but kind of during off-peak hours, a truck can kind of maneuver in, pick up the dumpster, maneuver out, and kind of leave the site. Trying to kind of get away from that idea of having to, pull dumpsters out or block kind of areas. So I think we're open to exploring other areas if there's anywhere the staff would recommend. But again, the underlying item is that the bank does require a dumpster as part of their operation.
Okay. I think we'd be interested in seeing different places to put it.
Okay.
Second and third. Go
Matt, it's John. I think ordinarily off-peak in a retail center like this is easy to do, but the problem here, as much as anything, is that Starbucks. I mean, a lot of my dumpsters get picked up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Starbucks is open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you've got to really get somebody early or very late. And so I think somewhere else is going to be needed.
Okay, great.
Thanks for that, John. The second and third curb breaks, this is number 5, for vehicular use and are proposed to be located opposite landscape islands. Staff considers this configuration creates unsafe conditions for drivers and recommends the board advise the applicant to reconfigure the parking lot to align curb breaks with the drive aisles on the opposite side of the driveway. To achieve this, it may be advantageous or even necessary to create one-way circulation, which would have additional benefit of eliminating hairpin turns into the drive-through area. In support of this modification, staff considers it may be necessary to take a slightly creative approach to meeting the 10% interior parking lot landscaping requirement. Staff recommends the board discuss with the realignment with the applicant, provide direction on circulation patterns and guidance on whether landscape areas on the perimeter of the project area may count toward interior parking lot landscaping. Is it the parking lot landscaping, Josh, that had you go in this approach, or is there another way why you didn't want to do the one-way circulation as suggested by staff?
Yeah, I mean, and part of it is, I mean, there's a customer experience element to the one-way circulation, but I think what it comes down to is, we're kind of leasing a portion of this out parcel development. So we're kind of working within that parameter, and the driveway locations, have been designed, to provide the locations themselves, again, by having both the curb cuts and because it's a low trip generating use, we don't expect a very frequent, or there's not going to be like heavy volume coming in and out of these locations. What we've looked to do really with these existing drive aisles is, it's a controlled design, in comparison to what you have with the with the Shaw and what you have with Starbucks and kind of these higher trip rating uses. It becomes, maybe more of an issue, but with a bank, the customer base really kind of knows the area. It's for the most part a destination use, so they kind of are familiar with the driveway. So, we don't see it as a big, kind of hurdle. Our more concern would be trying to move around these driveways in this limited kind of area we're working with, have kind of adverse impacts to the customer experience. It would require us to do, really tight driveways, angled parking, and kind of, it wouldn't allow us to have any of the interior landscaping. We'd have to kind of push it to the side and, you know, could kind of impact the overall experience and kind of provide, you know, some issues within that internal drive aisle.
So can you show us the circulation, and you can pick up the tool, or if you can't, I think Delilah can, Marla can, what the circulation, your preferred way of circulation through the drive-through area, so we can see it visually?
Yeah, I don't have an option to take control of the screen.
If you at the top of your screen, it should be drawing tools, Josh.
It's not activated right now.
It's it should be okay.
Oh, there it is.
Drawing tools enabled.
Got it. You're typically at the bottom. I do not see that.
Yeah, right below where it says there's 100% and the plus minus sign, and then all the way to the bottom there's the little paintbrush.
So, you know, and what we've done is we've looked at the movement. So we've run vehicles kind of through this parking area, and it's a very traditional kind of layout for the tenant. But you know, there's 2 points of ingress. You know, you have our driveway here, and then we have our driveway a little bit further planned left. And so, you know, the majority of customers we anticipate are really going to use the first driveway. They're going to be coming off of Shelburne Street, and they're going to kind of be coming right into the site, and they'd be kind of, you know, circulating the project area and kind of entering the drive-through. And so, you know, we may get some traffic, or, you know, a small amount of trips that are kind of coming down the interior of the shopping center that would kind of come in at this driveway, again, the left driveway. And you know, what we've run here, we do have a 24-foot aisle and a 12-foot lane here. So, you know, there's plenty of room for a vehicle, you know, even a large SUV truck to kind of make this movement into the drive aisle. Kind of provided a little extra room to help them make that movement. But again, the majority of our trips we anticipate are really going to be entering through this first driveway and kind of looping the site. You know, and if they're not using the remote ATM, they'd be entering that driveway and kind of utilizing the parking kind of closest to the chase, and you know, the parking kind of furthest away. Some will be used for employees, and some would be kind of additional parking as needed.
But there's no way, if you go in, Josh, if you go through there, you can't cut through to get to the Shaw's or the Starbucks, right?
So you can. There would be kind of a slight.
Oh, you can.
I mean, it's not uncommon to see in shopping centers. You know, again, they're not. You know, there is this movement. Our drive aisles are stop controlled, so it's not. These aren't free flowing driveways. You know, people have stopped. We've kind of, what we've looked at holistically for the center is, you know, kind of the sight lines at these points, understanding that these access aren't aligned, and kind of knowing that is, you know, making sure that these movements, they have clear kind of sight lines to be able to, you know, make these movements safely.
Matt, this is Marla. I'm sorry. I feel like I have to speak up here. You know, in my entire embarrassingly long driving career, the only car accident I've ever been in has been in one of these situations. So, you know, I have a little bit of chip on my shoulder about it, but everything
at a bank or at a shopping center?
At a misaligned driveway in a shopping center.
But not a bank.
So everything Josh is saying about, and in fact, it was at a bank, but I don't think that's really relevant to the current conversation. But everything Josh is saying about it being a low trip generation, and most people will use the first driveway, it really speaks to, well, in those cases, why not have it be aligned? You know, you could have a one-way drive aisle, you could have angled parking, you could, you know, reduce that reliance on that crazy hairpin turn. I know you can make it. Most people are terrible drivers. Maybe not everyone can without a little bit of back and forth. It just feels like Josh is making arguments in favor of having it be one way.
Yeah, Mark here. I agree with Marla. I mean, I think one thing to keep in mind is that what's on the back end of this parking lot that's going to be that the traffic generating is Starbucks, Chipotle, Five Guys. You know, this, you know, anytime I've gone in or out of that shopping center, there's a lot of traffic that comes and goes through that specific area. And, you know, if it is a low trip generating operation at the Chase Bank, and with especially it looks like there's going to be quite a bit of usage of the remote, remote drive up area, you know, I think that it is even more crucial to get these curb cuts aligned, because there's going to probably be, while it may be low trip generating, I bet quite a bit of it's going to go to the bank and then go across to go over to Shaw's or Starbucks. Hopefully they would park and go to Starbucks after going to the bank. But if they go to the drive-through, then they're going to drive across to go to Starbucks. And having
or just cut through, right? I mean,
right, or just cut through.
What's to stop someone just going, oh, there's a backup on at that light, I'm just going to cut through to get to Starbucks.
Right. So I think that, you know, unless there's an internal need for that many parking spaces specifically for the lease area, you've got, I think, making the circulation for vehicular traffic work, especially with the existing parking lot, because you are taking about an acre within an existing established parking lot and shopping center. You're going to have to make that work from a traffic circulation, and then you've got parking spaces all over the place for, you know, if you don't get enough spaces right on the lease lot.
Yeah, or what about the people cutting through to go out one of those two exits to avoid the backup?
Matt, I'm confused about how you think that they're going to cut through.
Is there not? Is that
no,
not?
There's no benefit to getting out of the light this way. There's no cut through on this.
No. No, I'm talking just.
I thought on the leased area there was a way to get through to Starbucks rather than going through the light.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm talking
about
that's better traffic for the bank.
Where's the Starbucks?
Right here.
Right here.
I mean, right there.
Yep.
Oh, so in the Chipotle building.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can tell where my priorities are.
You can't get here. You can't go through here to go here.
No, not from Shelton.
Yeah.
This isn't a cut right here?
No.
No.
Okay. I saw the
Come in
strike
like
and I
this.
figured it was a cut.
And like this. And then here.
Right.
And
But not through here and then through there.
no. You have to come in and around and into. Now I'll go back down to their drawing. Sorry, excuse me. This is the light. This is the big light.
Oh, I see. I got you now. I was oriented the wrong way. Got it.
And then you have to come in and around, and then the Starbucks Chipotle's over here.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. You can erase my squiggles.
And then
I think that's
these are the
that's
island.
I was just speaking for somebody with a big truck. Speaking for somebody with a big truck, I like this arrangement. I'm always trying to get through these things, and I can see that I can get into this one.
You like, sorry, the current arrangement?
Yeah, the current arrangement it leaves me plenty of room to come in the first drive aisle loop, you know, with the big turns of a, you know, it's a full size pickup truck. Yeah, I mean, I like this. This is effective for me.
Now, is the concern more related to the two access points allowing both ingress and egress movements, or is the concern that we're getting, I guess, from the staff and the board concerned with the alignment of the drive aisles across the way? Because again, I think that would be very helpful for us to understand as we kind of move forward with the next phase of the project.
My concern personally is the misalignment of the curb cuts opposing. So traffic that it's going to be in conflict with each other.
Mark, this is Dawn. I didn't hear the last part. traffic is going to be what, in conflict?
In conflict with each other. You know, as Marla said, the misaligned curb cuts, you know, someone, I don't know if I can grab the highlighter, someone coming out here, going over to here, someone coming here, you know, going that way. It's just, it's not proper traffic flow.
So it's not like a grid.
Correct.
Okay.
And Josh, you could fix the outflow of the, well, you could fix the second one to line up pretty well, couldn't you?
The second, which one?
Where the ATM is, couldn't you fix that one to flow out fairly consistently?
Yeah, I mean, our concern in those situations is when you start combining the exit for the ATM and the kind of egress movement for traffic. You kind of have two vehicles lined up side by side that are leaving. And, you know, kind of, you know, we want to try to avoid having the egress movement merge with the ATM, just based on stop control. So, I mean, what we can do is we can go back and talk with, again, it's the real concern is we're working within a lease area. We're working within a, you know, we don't have unlimited control of how many spaces we can touch within the shopping center. You know, today the existing drive aisle is a little bit misaligned, right in that area that you were kind of just pointing at. But what we can do is we can look to kind of work with Marla and kind of talk about some potential options. And obviously we'll kind of reiterate the concern of the board to both the applicant and the landlord, to kind of talk about some potential solutions.
All right, it's good to hear. Okay, that was agenda item 5, and that's all we have from staff. Are there any questions the applicant has of the board or staff regarding the sketch plan application?
I think just a couple questions while we, you know, have everyone here. We just want to touch on the lighting. It seems like, and I know talking in our original conversations, you know, the concern would be spillover. Now the bank does have, you know, security lighting standards. So we just want to kind of confirm that the concern would really be any spillover onto kind of Shelburne Street right away, because and not kind of any lighting, obviously, kind of on the interior of the parcel itself.
So there's maximum illumination levels and average maximum illumination levels. Obviously, we have lots and lots of banks along Shelburne Road, and we've never had a problem with applicants meeting those standards. Hopefully, you know, this isn't Fort Knox, and you'll be able to work within them as well. But there's two criteria. It's about spillover, and it's also about average maximum within the property.
Okay. No, perfect. And I think, I mean, that kind of wraps it up. We, again, appreciate everyone's time and the feedback from both staff and the board. We're really, really looking forward to kind of keep moving this application forward. We think it's going to be a great addition kind of to the area, the corridor, into the city.
Great, thank you, Josh. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on the sketch plan application? Hearing none.
Matt, I just want to say one thing. But I do want to say, I agree with Josh that he is right, that I was just looking on Google Earth, that there is already a misalignment going on in the one curb cut because the other ones that they're creating are going to be new. And it is interesting because there already is that sort of misalignment going on. I guess one question I would just ask, and I know this is business lease, you know, arrangements, was there ever any discussion with the applicant and the landowner to lease that sort of parcel to the north, that parking area? Because I don't think I've ever seen more than 5 cars in that parking area, and that one already has all the alignment access worked out.
This is Angie from Acadia, and we actually first identified that location and wanted to explore that, but we were told that that site, if we were to explore that site, we would have to densify with a 2-story building
Okay.
due to the city's desire to densify further there. So
that's in
we
the
brought
urban
it
design overlay node, just to clarify what
Got it.
Angie said.
Okay.
right. So we then readjusted and brought it down to the current site.
Okay.
So we're kind of working within the parameters that we were given.
I have those difficulties to work with them. Okay.
Okay, thanks for that, Mark. If there are no other questions from the public or the applicant, staff, or the board, we don't formally close or vote. It's just a sketch plan, so we'll see you at preliminary plat. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Josh, Angie, Kelly. Okay. I think what we're going to do now is open up 4 sketch plans at once, since it's the same applicant, and we'll discuss that. So I'd like to open agenda item 8, 9, 10, and 11, sketch plan application SD 2029 of South Village Communities, sketch plan application SD 2030 of South Village Communities, sketch plan application SD 2031 of South Village Communities, and sketch plan application SD 2032 of South Village Communities. Who is here for the applicant?
Robin Jeffers, I'm here along with Dave Marshall and Patrick O'Brien.
Robin, Dave, Patrick. As you know, this is a sketch plan application. For those watching at home, the sketch plan application is a high-level review and discussion where an applicant receives feedback from the board on the major elements of the project before it's fully designed. During the meeting, the board may provide oral guidance to the applicant, which constitutes the board's determination the application meets the purposes of land development regulations. These comments are to help guide the applicant to a later application that meets LDR requirements and contributes to the goals of the comprehensive plan. It's not a formal hearing. It does not result in a binding decision. There is no vote. The board may choose to continue the meeting at a later date if there are further questions to be examined. Future date will be announced prior to concluding this item for the evening. Upon conclusion of the sketch plan meeting, the applicant who wishes to move forward with their project will have to submit a complete application. The next level review includes additional public notices and a formal public hearing. So while we have 4 different sketch plans, I thought I'd introduce them all at once and go through the staff comments. But Robin or Patrick or David, if you want to provide sort of an overview of what you've got planned here.
And Robin, is there one particular plan you want me to show for this overview?
I was going to ask it for the initial overview. Can you open up the 01243 master site plan? Or helicopter view, and then once I've gone over that, I'd like you to go to the Google Earth overlay.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what Marla put in here. I'm not sure if I have it broken out the way you're asking, but let me.
Yeah, Robin, can you use names that are on in the packet? Because I'm not sure which plan you're referring to either.
It was in the supplemental materials. It's the name of the plan is 01243 master site plan.
Really?
In the plan, okay. 1, 2, 4.
Not seeing it.
Let me share what I have and then tell me if this is helpful.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Is this what you're thinking?
No, but that'll do. That'll do.
Okay. This was in the plan that I have available to me.
Okay. Do you have the Google Earth overlay for a second? You could be looking while I'm talking. I'll start.
Not while I'm sharing my screen. Can I look easily?
Okay. We just wanted to, is it okay, Matt, if I just go into an overview? Yes. So can any people see my cursor there? Or do I have any control of the cursor?
If you go to the drawing tools, anyone can draw. If you select a drawing tool, then you can get a pointer or a highlighter or a little bouncing red ball.
normal non-drawing mode.
Yeah, so below
Yeah,
that
you
you
wanna
have
change
pin,
it.
highlighter, or spotlight. You might want to select spotlight.
I see pen, highlighter, or arrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
pick
try
arrow.
arrow then.
Oh, got it. Is that working?
I am not seeing it. Click on
No.
some.
There you go. Got
There you
it.
go.
I didn't do that. I did the brown arrow under FD. All
Right,
right.
so if you click somewhere else, it'll show up somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I'm gonna erase those things and then you can start fresh.
Okay. So just to give everyone a visual, this is South Village. This intersection right here is Allen Road East. This is Spear Street going north and Spear Street going south. And the primary areas that we're going to talk about are within this, whoops. This area is, this light blue area with the FD on it is future development is lot 48N, which is one of the applications. This area down here with the yellow and the FD on it is lot 11. The lot to the left of it in light blue is lot 11A. And this lot is lot 11B. And all of these lots are around the agricultural lease, which is this green, big green blob in the middle, right here. And then, so we just wanted to give everybody an orientation. The balance of South Village is permitted or built out. Any luck, Delilah, finding the Google Earth overlay?
I think, yeah, give me a second. Let me see what we have available. Oh. Okay, let me stop share. Item 3. All right. It's last agenda item C. Okay. What is agenda item C? Marla, do you know which one? Because C.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I've got
meant to
set
say
C.
8.
Oh, 8C. Okay.
Whichever, yeah. It's the third from last of this agenda item, I think, but Robin, I'm not 100% sure that that's what you're referring to. It's the one in your original application you referred to as Gen 2.
Yes, it's Gen 2.
Okay, then yes, it's the
Gen
third
2.
from last page of this agenda item.
Of the agenda, not in the plans. I'm in plans right now.
Sure, yeah, it's the third from last either way, regardless of which way you slice it.
All right, there we go.
Love
There we go.
technology. Thank you.
We're here.
We're here, we made it. So again, just this is a more zoomed in orientation. So in the upper right-hand corner, the lot with all the little green spots on it, which are trees, again, is lot 48N. And then the farm is kind of obvious in the middle. Those whitish stripes are greenhouses. And then down below it is lot 11. And people can't see my cursor, right? Ooh.
I'm helping.
Are you the red dot?
I'm the red dot.
Oh yeah.
Delilah,
The
Delilah,
red dot.
the red dot. Can I be the red dot?
For some reason, it's not offering you the red dot. It only offers me the red dot.
Okay. Can you circle lot 48N?
N, is that this one?
Oh, that's 11A.
48 up here.
Upper right-hand corner, yes. So, okay. Can you erase that? Sorry, I gotta learn better language. Could you draw a line around it with your red ball?
The red ball doesn't leave lines, it just highlights.
Exactly.
Bouncing ball.
Perfect. That's the area, 48N. And to the right of it, that little white landing strip, with trees on it is the open space. And then right at the top of that, right there where you've got your ball is where the bike path turns in and crosses phase 2. And the bike path, you can zoom in a little bit. That bike path is the white path. That path is installed. So we just sort of wanted to set that would be the more or less the left-hand boundary of that open space area. And then at the top of 48N, and I was just going to start at the top and go down to the bottom of the drawing. What we're showing is a 200-foot drive in to this lot. Over to the left a little bit, over by where it says lot 82, is where the curb cut would come in from Preserve Road, and the road would come down 200 feet. It would come to a hammerhead, and that would be a private alley or a private road. And then it would be curbed. It would just set itself aside from a driveway, which would then extend from it further to the south and become the driveway to the next 2 buildings, which are 2 more duplexes in the same lot area. Yep, those 2. And we're showing these duplexes all facing a common element, which is that open space park, lot 96. We're showing a little area with landscaping where people could take a little break on their bike if they wanted to. And we're showing a sidewalk along all the front of the homes. When we get down to the nitty-gritty, this particular drawing shows the sidewalk from each unit connecting directly to the bike path. After further thought, we decided to have them connect to a sidewalk in front of these units. So in front of all of the trees would be a sidewalk. Each one of these homes is a duplex, so there's 2 units on each. Some of them have a garage in the center, some of them have a garage just set to the side. These are workforce units, so they're smaller than most of the rest of the homes, and they have a 1-car garage, not a 2-car garage, which is why the driveway is wider than the garage. We wanted each of the driveways to be 2-car widths wide. We found in phase 1 where we have units of this size that have a 1-car garage that having a 2-car width driveway is highly beneficial. For your average family has 1 or 2 cars these days, and if they have guests, you certainly want them to have that extra space. There's not a lot of room for parking on the streets in South Village, so handling parking in the individual driveways is key. And in the alley, again, they're generally not parking. So I sort of wanted to touch on most of the things there were questions about 48N.
So maybe, Robin, if it's all right, just sort of step back and just provide an overview here of, we've got 4 different sketch plans.
Yep.
We've opened them up together. And we're talking about 2 different lots, even though we have 4 sketch plans. And the reasoning, I'll let you fill in the blanks, but I assume the reasoning is so you can put them in order in whatever order you think is going to work best for you in terms of the build out. And but it almost feels like this is part of what you're going to have to adjust the master plan. I assume that you're going to come back with a master plan fix to this that will be able to phase which part of 11A, 11B, 11C, or 48N that you're going to do first. I assume that's part of the process. Am I reading that wrong?
We put in the 4 separate applications so that we could, but we put them all in at the same time so that we could get feedback on you to make the determination of what our next steps are. Primarily on lot 48N, we're looking to hear from you about the matriculation towards a common area because we're mimicking phase 1, the way homes are oriented with alleys on a common area. So we kind of really need to understand where you're at on that. We work really closely with staff on this concept. So we're hoping to get information from you on that, and that will sort of determine the next step for that lot. And then I'll go through each of the other lots. Let's primarily at that same level. We'll be looking at each one individually. So below the 48 is lot 11, which shows there's 11 duplexes proposed on lot 11. And then along with that, what we had tried to do, which I believe really complicated this application, and I apologize for that, where you see it says lot 11E, we wanted to create a new lot that is open space. And the idea was that we would take the land that we're not using on lot 11 and the land that we're not using on lot 11A and what we may not use on lot 11B and put them all into that open space. So creating that new lot created a level of confusion that we would like to dispel. We mostly wanted to be very straightforward and share our grand view. And so I do believe that if you were to do all of that at once, yes, you'd have to do a master plan. But we've had conversations with Marla and Paul about it and splitting it apart and the order that we might do that. And we'd prefer to work through with staff the actual process once we have feedback from you all at this meeting about the order that which will go, rather than tie up the DRB about talking about the order of application.
Okay, so can we put 48 in a put a pin in it right now and just talk about lot 11? And this is where I'd like to hear from staff as well. I mean, this is where the master plan was what, 02, 03, the last master plan amendment, and that's where the school was going to go. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So I guess I have a couple questions to staff. Does changing that require a change in the master plan? Does there need to be a master plan amendment to this? And if not, well, let's answer that question first.
Okay.
Marla.
So, I mean, if you, in the memo, so the way the staff comments are set up, I'm sure everyone's seen it at this point. There's staff comments on each of the 4 sketches, but then there's this sort of memo that covers everything at the beginning because we didn't want to repeat ourselves for each of them. So there are at least 2, potentially 3 areas that we consider master plan amendments required. The first being the change to not have a school. The second, to develop in an area previously identified as open space, which I'm hoping Robin can testify whether that's actually true or not. This was definitely based on like an eyeball kind of thing. And then the third is whether if there's going to be an increase in lot coverage from the master plan approval, and any one of those things requires master plan amendment.
Robin and Patrick and David, do you agree that a master plan amendment would be required, or do you not?
Not necessarily. We don't believe that there is any change to open space that previously existed. We do believe that we are creating new open space. We're creating 2 new areas of open space. And we believe that in the last miscellaneous application that we addressed the fact that lot 11 was no longer going to be a school and it was going to be homes.
Okay.
Right, and the change that was discussed and the board said, yeah, that sounds like you're on the right track. But that doesn't change that it hasn't actually, the amendment hasn't actually happened yet. Is what our
Patrick wants to chat.
Patrick. Go ahead,
Matt, if I may, certainly there are, as we understand, 5 triggers that would make a master plan amendment. But more importantly, if we were to require a master plan amendment, we would have to go to sketch plan. We're in sketch plan now. So what we would like to do is not concentrate on whether or not we need a master plan amendment or not, and let us work with staff on that, because regardless, all it means is one additional step forward in the process. So while it's an important thing to figure out, we don't necessarily need to figure that out this evening.
I think that might be correct, Patrick, and I agree with you. And I think this is a technical issue rather than a substantial issue. They can run parallel as they have in other projects. So I don't see this as being a hindrance other than more work for staff and for you and for us. But yeah, you're not building a school. You know, we got it. Do we have to change the master plan? That might be a technical issue rather than a fundamental issue. But I would like to dive into what you do have planned for lot 11 before we get to 48N. And I guess the best way to do it is by
Then can we
stepping
go
through.
to the lot 11 application package?
Yeah, so let's go to okay, open space. Okay, so let's go to number 8.
So Delilah, can you bring up the lot 11?
11A, this would be 2030. So this is a sketch plan application, developed a 1.3 acre lot, lot 11A, with 6,750 square foot building and related site improvements for the purpose of limited neighborhood commercial use. Is that what we're talking about?
11A is the commercial lot on the corner of Spear Street and Allen Road East.
Yeah, okay, so we're on the right project. Okay, there's a cover memo that we discussed prior. These comments focus on the development of lot 11A. The proposed subdivision of land and development of lot 11 and 11C is discussed on staff comments on SD 2029, and development of lot B is discussed on SD 2031. The first comment from staff regarding 11A is about circulation, because there's limited circulation between the parking lots, because the pedestrian access from the neighborhood is mildly circuitous, and because this neighborhood market is proposed to be partially 1-story and partially 2-story, staff recommends the board ask the applicant to describe the function of the market, including the cross-hatched areas, and the board should provide feedback on access and circulation. And that's a good starting point. Robin, if you could talk about what commercial building you're thinking about there.
Sure. Can we get the drawing?
I'm working on it. I thought it was connected to the plant, to the memo, but it's not. Hold on.
Sure. So in general terms, we're planning, our intentions are to build a market cafe use. And there would probably be an ancillary smaller office on the ground floor of the building. The building is a hill, it's sloped. Hard to describe in just words without a drawing. As you are on the sidewalk on Allen Road East, you would be looking at a 2-story building. On Spear Street, you would be looking at a 1-story building with what would appear to be a walkout basement. From the parking lot side, again, you'd be looking at a 1-story building with a walkout at one end. It has a divided parking lot. One level of parking lot is at the top of the hill and the other level of parking lot is at the bottom of the hill. They each have separate entrances for the separate uses. And then in the crosshatch areas, which are around it, I don't know if maybe some of you can see that on your screen. Along Spear Street, there's a crosshatched area, which we would hope would be a deck or a patio. And on the parking lot sides, they are walkways in between the parking areas.
Robin, this is Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Would this be in addition to the farmer's market that exists on the farm plot?
There's currently a farm stand in the barn on the farm, and we imagine that they would be the ideal tenant for that, and that barn would just become a barn. But I can't speak for them and say that that's how it will happen. But they are certainly growing. They're growing. They are very successful. So in an ideal world, they would be the marketing cafe.
I'm sorry.
So
The numbering is different in the agenda, so I have to go by the numbering in the agenda. It's number 9 on the agenda.
Oh.
Matt, if I may.
Can you slide down?
Go ahead.
There you go.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, it's Patrick.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
I just wanted to give you a little bit of history because it's very important. So 3 or 4 years ago, we pooled the neighborhood together and did a survey, had several meetings as to whether or not the South Village community wanted to have a neighborhood commercial area, and if so, how large it should encompass. Subsequent to that, we worked with the Planning Commission to basically achieve what is in the ordinance today that allows us to do what we're proposing. And then subsequent to that, we went to the city council and it became part of today's ordinance. So I just wanted to give you the background to the minutia behind this proposal.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And it's, I think it's a great addition to this neighborhood. We're not disputing that at all. I'm trying to figure out the circulation comment. And then my other, it's not a comment, but where's the front of the building in terms of not having parking on the front of the building? Would the front of the building be on Allen Road East, or would it be like how would you define the front of the building here? Hard to tell without saying this.
That was the question we had. It almost has two faces. It would clearly face Spear Street, but the entrances would all be off of Allen Road East.
Of Allen Road East, and then the parking. You described it before, Robin. Forgive me, but now that I see it in front of me, where the parking is, so you'd enter through this road here off of Allen Road East, and then you said there was two parking. Oh, I see. The parking up here, and then you're referring to the parking a little bit lower. I see.
Yes. It's also neighborhood commercial. The idea is that most people would be able to walk here. But
right.
This lower parking lot would serve the lower level of this building, and then the upper parking lot would service the upper levels of both buildings, which is only one level on the northern rectangle.
And if you were living in the neighborhood and walking, you would take the sidewalk to the on the northern side, correct? Is that how you would access the building?
Yes, and that's the bike path as well.
Oh, I see. But it also, you could go around the building on Spear Street, if I see that right, to walk in through the lower building?
Yes, you could come from anywhere on Spear Street and come in and come in this way, or there are stairs if you wanted to come straight up to the second story use, or this is a sidewalk that would then lead up to the soccer field. So there's multiple ways.
In the crosshatch area that's referenced in the staff notes, the question was, right.
Whoops.
Describe the function of the crosshatch areas.
So this one that I'm scribbling on would be a patio.
Okay.
This one here is directly off of the parking lot, is the access to the building. And the big one down here that's odd shaped would be access to the building, and it also comes to a flight of stairs that goes up to the second level. Does that make sense?
Patio, is that a covered patio, or is that a or the tables with umbrellas or whatnot?
We hadn't gotten that far, to tell you the truth. Definitely some kind of shade. It would need some kind of shade.
Is the elevation there where you have views of the lake from that spot?
Yes, you would.
At least the mountains. Wow, that's a really nice spot.
It is a great spot. I think it would be a wonderful attribute to the community.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions to the board about the commercial property on 11A? I like it.
Yay.
Matt, before you move on, just give me 1 second to flip through the staff comments to make sure there wasn't anything super critical. Pedestrian function, we already talked about, and that was it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now if we move to item, I guess it's 10, which is 11B. So 11B, these comments focus on just on lot 11B, the proposed subdivision of land and development on lots 11, 11C is discussed in staff comments SC 2029, and development of lot 11A is discussed, as we just discussed, in 2030. Numbered items in red. What is 11B? Can you just give us a brief overview of 11B before we go through the staff comments?
So this is
the open area.
11B is the soccer field, and we're looking at 48N.
No,
We have,
wrong one.
we have a disconnect.
Well, I'm going by the agenda item number because that's how they're labeled. So if it's not, if you're calling it the lot number, but I have to go by how they're named in the agenda.
Yeah, I have SD 2031 on my screen. On my
Item
other screen.
number 10.
I'm not sitting in the office. I've got a little laptop here, so I'm just if 2031.
Yeah. That's 11B. And this is the 2.92 acre lot with a city park with a recreational field and associated parking.
Yes.
So this will be not for exclusively for the South Village community, but will be open to.
Yes, it's an all city amenity.
That's great. And I assume we've had conversations already with the Rec and Park Committee?
Yes, we actually have a private development agreement that was created at the onset of South Village, whereby the recreation fees that are paid as impact fees with the development of each building are escrowed into a fund that the city holds to pay for this amenity.
Okay. So regarding access and circulation, there's 60 parking spaces proposed. Director of Recreation and Parks indicated this is an acceptable number, but has operational concerns about the share use between the farm stand and city programming. Staff recommends the applicant coordinate with the Recreation and Parks Department to create a mutually agreeable operational plan prior to preliminary plat. Does that sound acceptable?
It does. We agree. We agree.
Okay. All right. Number 2, staff assumes that the proposed sidewalk stub along the south side of the parking lot is intended for future refinement and recommends the board discuss with the applicant their goals for that sidewalk, providing direction as necessary. Sidewalk stub. I'm looking at my sheet here. Oh, there it is right there. Thank you, Delilah.
There it is.
Where's the stub? Oh, I see it.
Right here.
Yeah.
So originally there was an intended where you see a rectangle with an X, that there would be a tot lot. But we had a meeting with the rec committee, I think it was a couple of months ago, and they all thought that the idea of a tot lot was outdated. The original thinking was that people who had teenagers, kids playing soccer would want their toddlers to play at the tot lot, but a whole bunch of moms said they would never leave their kid at the tot lot. So
wait, what is it? What is it? I'm sorry, I have teenagers. What's a tot lot?
A tot lot is a playground for little kiddos.
Oh, okay.
So a bunch of residents wrote in and said that they would rather see a basketball half court. So the rectangle that's there now is just a space holder, and the dead end sidewalk goes to that amenity if an amenity is elected to be put there. It's in a proposed easement area where South Village would grant an easement to the city for that. So it's not something that has to happen, but definitely some residents have voiced that they would want it to happen if it could happen, but I think that that is a conversation for the rec committee.
So what I'm hearing is that is a to be determined work in progress that you'll have with a better idea when you come back for preliminary plat. Is that
yes,
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Does the board have any opinion on what they think might be good there, or just leave it up to discussions with neighbors and rec and park?
Yeah,
I think half court basketball makes great sense.
Yeah. and I should have asked this question at the previous one, but there are neighbors, single-family homes across Spear Street. Do you know how they feel at this point about a market and a cafe and a soccer field? Have you gotten any feedback from them?
I do believe that they participated in the public hearings because there were many. We went to the planning commission several times. The first time it was not as well received as it was the second time. And after the second time, we hosted many community meetings to vet the idea, and they were open to those folks. And in the end, we had very good reception from everyone that we heard from.
Thank you, Robin.
Excuse, can I interject?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, we are one of those lots across the street, and we heard nothing of these community meetings about this, and we really are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could I get your name?
Brian Mattal, M-A-L.
Hey, Brian.
So yeah, we pay attention to everything for obvious reasons, because South Village has changed dramatically from when we first bought our house and what the plan was. And I meant to bring this up in the last, I would love the definition of limited commercial, who can go there? Can a gas station go there? Can a Cumberland Farms go there? That would be a great place to start.
I have to say that Marla did a great job articulating in the notes for this item exactly what can and can't go there. I guess no high level use is allowed. They came up with neighborhood commercial as a definition for a very small limited scope business to be there. We're imagining something probably a little bit smaller than the Chittenden Cider Mill, to give you an idea.
Thank you for that, Brian. And Brian and anyone else, we are going to have an opportunity for you to expand on public comment for this sketch plan application once we step through all the staff comments. So thank you for that.
Okay, my apologies. I just want to make sure.
No, there will absolutely be a time to talk, but let's get through these comments first, and we can collect all of the comments to address it in totality. Okay, so we're back at the soccer field. We're talking about the stub. I heard some favor for basketball rather than the tot lot.
Hey, so Matt, this is Marla. Sorry, I just want to interject here.
Yep.
So for the soccer field, I guess that's 11C, right? No, 11B. 11B. So just want to make the point that this is, I guess I don't have it right in front of me, but it's in there somewhere. This is a piece of land that has been deeded to the city. South Village has accumulated as part of their impact fees a certain amount of funds for development of this lot, and anything beyond those funds, which the city has fully embraced, is going to be paid by the city. So just want to keep in mind that you all as board members and as applicants and as neighbors are community members, and your opinions are valid here. But this is a conversation between more than just the applicant and the DRB. Like in most cases, it's actually it's a joint city project. So we want to make sure we emphasize that any sort of decisions should be consistent with Recreation and Parks programming and what they can handle in terms of operations and that sort of thing. And I think that Robin has had conversations with them about a soccer or about a tot lot versus a basketball court. And I think both of those were still on the table. So I'm not saying, don't do that. I'm just reminding everyone that, their share in this is much larger than the normally the case.
Marla, then it's John. Shouldn't Rex and Park be here?
So they did provide feedback on this application. We had conversations with them, and their feedback is reflected in the staff notes.
Okay, then it's not a bigger conversation. If their notes are here, then that's it. They could be here today.
John, Dave Markle here. This project actually goes back a long time. The original approval of this particular soccer field and the parking lot extends back to 2009. And for various reasons, the project just was not carried forward. But now this is a new opportunity to basically look at it from afresh. And this is also one of the points that Robin made, is that the tot lot concept of over a decade ago is come and gone to something that's a little bit more active in use. So that's just a little bit of the background. So in defense of the Recreation Department, they've been basically dealing with this for a long period of time, and a lot of the issues have been vetted. But at the same time, we've also had a lot of turnover in staff. So this is the opportunity to basically dust it off and make it a better project.
All right.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. I understand that, but this is, we're trying to approve or disapprove of a project. And if a major player in this is the city and the rec department, then they ought to be here, or they ought to shut up and go away. That's, you know, it's, they have a choice. They could either be involved or not.
If I may.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you. I agree with you, John. However, I think the rec committee has been waiting for this trigger to be pulled again, because it was all approved once, for several months. The way it was left off was there was a meeting, there was a list, there was questions still to be answered. Our response was, that's great news. We're going to go get sketch plan. Once we get sketch plan, we know that's the time we can put more energy into it. So I would assume that you'll see at least additional comments from the rec committee, if not their presence at preliminary, to support the application.
Thanks, Patrick.
Great. Infrastructure. Soccer field is intended to be served by a sanitary sewer by proposed lavatories on adjacent lot 11A. When constructed, an MOU lease is being discussed with city staff regarding lavatory construction, use, care, maintenance. If agreed to, the use would be attached to the future proposed structures on lot 11A. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant to discuss the timelines for 11A, 11B, given the consideration of the fact that lot 11B is accessed via lot 11A. Staff further recommends the board require the applicant to provide a final determination on the proposed sanitary facilities at the next application for the property. So, yeah, these two kind of go together. At least that's the interpretation here. How is it all going to work out, Robin?
We agree. They're fairly joined at the hip. They share the same road. The intention is they would share the same bathrooms and water. So we're prepared to move forward with this after this meeting and hearing your feedback. We believe that the new building, the commercial building, would trigger potentially interim zoning because it's a new structure. So we'd have to make that application. Whereas lot 11B might not be, but 11A certainly needs to. We recognize that that application can run concurrently with the DRB process. We suspect within 60 to 90 days following this and revisions and working with staff, we'd be able to take the next step.
But you envision this being two different applications, 11A and 11B, and not combined into one at preliminary plat?
At preliminary plat, they may potentially be together, but lot 11 only needs to go through interim zoning.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Unless it's retired soon.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Does that timeline make sense to the board, staff? Okay, that's 11B. If there's any questions about 11B, we can move on to discussion. Ooh, what about 11C? Where would that be, Marla?
11C is attached to 11A. No, 11.
11C and 11 are attached. 11 is the one with 22 units of housing on it. We need to not skip that one. 11C
Where is that?
is sort of a appendage on 11. 11 is agenda item number 8. So there's the memo that is agenda item number 8, and then there's a whole set of staff comments after that.
Oh, I see it. Yep. Sorry, I skipped right by that. Okay. Yes, we should not skip that. Okay. Sketch plan application SD 2029 at South Village Community subdivide 3 existing undeveloped lots, totaling 9.83 acres into 4 lots, and construct 22 homes in 11 buildings on lot 11. Okay. These comments focus on the land developments of lot 11, 11C, the proposed developments of lot A and 11B is discussed in staff comments 2030 and 2031 respectively. Okay. So this is the 11 buildings and the 22 homes, the 11 duplexes, where there was, this part of lot 11 is where the school was proposed?
Yes.
Or is that more, okay. Okay, staff comment number 1, the applicants provided site plans do not show the farm access road continuing across the farm. Staff considers the continuation of this road across the farm to the existing farm access road, which exits onto Preserve Road, to be a critical element of the proposed development on lot 11. Without this road continuing, staff considers the development of lot 11 does not meet the SEQ regulations pertaining to the length of the roadways and does not meet the needs of the farm or of the homes on lot 11 for emergency access. Staff recommends the board confirm the intention is to continue and connect the roadway. Could we take a look at that? And
the answer is yes. We always did intend to connect it. We intended to be in a conversation with the farmer about what will ultimately work best for them.
Okay, but you are going to continue and connect the roadway, and that's what the answer we're looking for.
Yes.
Number two, the applicant is proposing a community pavilion on lot 11C. There is not currently any proposed access to the pavilion, nor is there proposed parking. In conversation with the applicant, they indicated these features are not shown because they are looking for community and board input on the pavilion configuration. But LDR 907D sets the goal of providing a park within a quarter mile of all homes in the SEQ. Park should provide a car-free destination and enhance each neighborhood's quality of life. South Village is dedicated a soccer field discussed in 2031. The consideration for the goals of parks in the SEQ, staff recommends the board ask the applicant to describe the use of the pavilion as a neighborhood amenity and provide initial feedback as to access and any needed parking for the drop-off for those with reduced mobility at this stage of review. In general, staff considers that the board should allow the applicant to develop the details of the pavilion concept based on feedback they solicit from community members. So where is this pavilion and what is the concept behind it or the design behind it?
Currently, we have a tent on lot 11, and the tent gets used fairly often by the neighborhood. It gets used for small gatherings, it gets used for community meetings, it gets used by the farm for events. And the idea behind a pavilion would be to replace that tent so that there's a permanent physical structure that's not wobbly and the wind can't hurt it or take it away to fulfill that same role.
Okay. In terms of access to it, by those with reduced mobility, is there current access to it right now, or are you going to improve that access?
Currently, it's accessed by the dirt road that goes to the farm, and people just pull on the lawn, the 1 or 2 people that need that better access. And what we're hoping to do is work with the community and find out where they might like to have that pavilion, whether it be closer to Allen Road East or further set back so that it's more towards the farm. It could be in either location. And we kind of want to hear from them, but I definitely agree that you need a place for a car to pull over and for better access for someone who's disabled.
So if I understand it right, the pavilion is, there's no need for the tent after the pavilion is built, but the pavilion may not necessarily go exactly where the tent is currently. Is that right?
It definitely will not go where the tent is currently because we're going to put homes there. It's going to flop over onto the newly created open space, which is now a dirt farm.
I see. Oh, I see. I got it. Okay.
You can see a little rectangle on the drawing. We just dropped it in there.
Yeah.
But we sort of wanted to talk with the community and with the farmer to see, do they want to let the farm become more forward and have more continued use, or do they want it to be closer to the neighborhood and Dewey Park and be more for the neighbors? It could work either way, but it has been an integral part of the development, and we want to keep that use.
Okay, so I appreciate that. You're going to continue to have that conversation and you bring that forward. Preliminary plat. Does the board have any input at this point in time? Okay. Number 3, in the presentation in support of MS 1903, the applicant had considered a layout for lot 11 that configured the lane as a loop road off the farm access road with no additional curb cuts on North Jefferson. Staff considers that the configuration had merit, recommends the board ask the applicant to describe why it was abandoned. If concerns are related to fire truck access, staff considers there may be a hybrid configuration with a lane beginning at North Jefferson but turning left onto the farm access rather than right onto North Jefferson again. Staff considers this alternative may result in a more tightly knit neighborhood than the strict road configuration currently proposed. I'm kind of lost in that. And so right now, the staff was concerned that the Y was the loop road. I guess I'm failing to figure out what was changed, what was abandoned. Can maybe someone point that out on this map?
Delilah, can you go to page 7 of the PDF that you're on right now? Page 6, I'm sorry. Right, so at the time that they presented this concept, it's a little up from where you are. So where we are now, yeah, exactly. So the way it's configured today is this central road does this. And the question is, what about what you had?
It didn't actually work to maneuver, certainly not a fire truck, but also not traffic. And we couldn't actually fit the homes in this way. This was really a mock-up that we did to demonstrate the number of units for the affordable plan. But when we got around to actually dropping in footprints of the building sizes that we think we'll need, if not a little bit larger, we needed to change the plan. It's also consistent with alleys elsewhere in the neighborhood that they come off of a traveled lane and into the other lane. We're really intending that the farm road mimic the farm road that we have now, and that it is a one-way dirt road onto the farm.
May I add?
Sure, go ahead, Patrick.
If you could go back to that and draw that yellow line again, please. The other factor is that if you have that yellow line in the road next to it, that's 2 main paved, curbed, etc. roads. And there's a couple issues with that. The first one, of course, is the environmental and the stormwater associated with all of that. But just as importantly, because we are proposing affordable houses in this pocket, that means 2 roads. That means spending perhaps $600,000 in infrastructure versus maybe $300,000. So because it's affordable, that was a big reason why we decided that 2 roads just doesn't economically work if we want to pull off affordability. Certainly, and I may be mistaken, but I don't believe that the staff note said that our alignment does not meet the SCQ guidelines. So we would like to pursue this alignment. And what I'd like to do next is have either Delilah or Marla show a picture of the farm road as it stands today, which was taken this morning, just to give the board an idea of what the function of that farm road is. And I think a picture will tell you 1,000 words.
Is that in supplemental, Marla?
I believe it is. I guess, Patrick, when you're presenting on that, could you provide a little bit more information on Robin's statement that the idea is that these homes that are on the left-hand side of lot 11 will face on this farm road, but the farm road will be really a secondary dirt lane. So will these homes really be facing on a road in that scenario?
Well, these homes will be facing the the common element, which is the sidewalk leading to the farm.
Keep going.
There
That's
we
it.
go. Go ahead, Robin.
So the dirt road, golly, it's probably 12 feet wide. It could be a little less. It's a one-way road. That's the edge of pavement of Allen Road East. And it winds into the farm, which you actually can't see from where you enter the farm right now. The new proposed location for the farm access road will actually give you a direct line of sight to the farm, which will greatly benefit the farm. And that first row of houses, if we can go back to the picture that we submitted that is with the application, it has those 6 houses, or 5. It's either 5 or 6 houses on a sidewalk that runs alongside that farm road for pedestrian access to the farm. I think it's the second image in this group. No.
With the pictures that you submitted?
What you started with, the one that we started with this lot. No, the overhead view.
Yeah, Delilah, you're looking for the site plan that shows the sketch plan application.
Right.
Are you looking for the color
got
one
closed.
of everything, or are you looking for the one that's specific to lot 11?
Just the black and
Lot
white.
11.
Okay, so that's page 9 of the agenda item number 8, plans, Delilah.
Okay, that got closed, so let me reopen it. When I'm
So, as we're waiting, I would like to talk a little bit more about that farm road. So that farm road actually continues into the farm, and that's the one you may have mentioned in the beginning of the presentation that continues through the farm and comes out onto Preserve Road. So you may have noticed it's a one-way in. There's a parking area for the farm, and then they continue north onto Preserve Road.
I have, so we are here.
No, we're looking for the one, when we opened this one item, lot 11, the drawing that goes with it.
Okay.
It's the last page. It's 18 of 18.
That looks like it. Thank you. There you go.
So I'm Dave Marshall here. I'm going to jump in. One thing that this particular alignment does, which the other one, the concept plan that had been batted around previously, is that this created a better separation between the farm use and farm access on the left side of this particular alignment of the homes, and how the residential use itself would basically be interconnected between the two existing streets. So we have this internal loop that's intended to basically be a lane that picks up everybody's driveways, introduces them into public street, and at the same time, the relocated farm access along the left side or the west side of those most westerly units will again still serve and only be used by those people who farm. There's a parallel sidewalk that basically allows the front homes to communicate with that particular access feature. But again, we're trying to balance the use of both agricultural use as well as residential use right next to each other. And that's where we thought that this particular internal lane which has this looping concept between the two public roads, would service or provide a better circulation pattern and a better circulation uses without getting too much conflict between the agricultural access, access to farms, that farm road, and the residential people. So that was a lot of the background in regards to this particular layout as far as where we are today.
I have a question about the homes, the structure. Are those, I know on 48 N, I think it's called, you said they were single car garages. Are these single or double?
These are single, again, it's the same idea. It's a single car garage with a driveway to accommodate 2 cars.
Thank you.
So in this case, it's to accommodate 4 because it's a duplex. So you'd have to have 4 car widths. And they're 1 car length long. And then our actual intention for the garages is to have them be a single car garage plus about 4 feet so that there's room for toters and bikes and things in there too, so that they're not always in the alley. Can I go on a little bit more about Lot 11? I know there were questions raised about the 2 houses that face Allen Road East, and I just wanted to point out that they will matriculate towards Allen Road East to complement that streetscape there, and the sidewalks will connect to Allen, well, to the bike path, which goes all the way around there. But they will appear as the front of a house. We have corner duplexes in quite a few places in South Village where one corner matriculates and has its front walk and front porch facing one road, whereas the adjoining unit faces a different way. So it would appear from Allen Road East almost as a single family house with a side load garage. And we wanted to do that to have a complementary streetscape.
Thank you for that, Robin. To go back to where we left off, regarding the lane, was it Douglas? Sorry, can't read Douglas Lane. That is how many feet right now? How many feet wide?
I believe we put it at 24, and the staff notes said the fire chief was comfortable with 20, and we are fine with that.
Okay, all right.
And then Farm Way, the staff notes noted that it was at 24 feet wide, and that was not our intention. Our intention is to match the existing farm road, which again, I believe is at 12 feet.
Okay. And then the question that Don had about the garage is that's also noted in 5. And the staff comment is the driveway access to units is wider than the proposed garages and results in the lane having driveways that are very near one another on both sides. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant to consider narrowing the driveways. Narrowing the driveways wouldn't allow for 4 cars, though, I would assume, right? Or would it?
That's correct. That's right.
So I assume you want to keep. Go ahead.
This is Marla. I guess finish with the garages, but then I want to talk more about sort of the overall setting before we get into too much more nitty gritty.
So again, about the garages, if there's a single car garage and then a piece of driveway behind the garage, doesn't that accommodate 2 cars? But then they have to get out of each other's way, I guess. That's not terribly convenient.
In general, the 1 car garage gets used primarily for storage, for your bikes and your kayaks and your toters and your stuff. I mean, some people will park their car in there, but also people have guests. Having a duplex with a 4 car width driveway, we found is the only realistic solution to keep the cars neatly arranged and manageable.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, 'cause
Ella, can you
these
go
are,
to page 13 of the PDF that you're in right now? So this plan kind of shows the proposed project is not the greatest because it doesn't show the buildings in the other parts of South Village. But if you look at lot 11 and then you look at phase 1, which is below lot 11 on this page, you can kind of see that there's this, there's this theme and variation thing happening here where some of these other areas have homes fronting on a common space in phase 1. So there's these guys, there's these guys, and I believe these guys as well. There may be some others, but those are the ones that come to mind right now. And so there's a requirement in the SEQ that homes face onto a street. South Village argued successfully in their phase 1 approval that homes facing on a common element achieved the same purpose as homes facing onto a street. We as staff feel that that's still just as valid an argument as it was when phase 1 was approved. But if that is the argument that's going to be made, that common element needs to be meaningful and be something that feels like the fronts of the homes. And I think this is valid for both lot 11 and 48N, that, you know, having a 12-foot gravel road, is that really a common element in the same way that this interior park is, or that this corner, these triangle shaped parks are?
Boy, Marla, yes, there's a farm road there, but there's also, I don't know how many acres below that are wide open. I think those are the houses I'd want.
Yeah, me too. Because those houses are they're looking west, right?
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the ones that are going to go for a premium.
I don't disagree. You know, I live in a place that has great views. I have a forest in my backyard. The SEQ standards are that homes face on a street, and South Village argued that facing on a common area was meeting the same purpose. So I just want to, I don't know that I feel super strongly, I don't know that I'm disagreeing with what you guys are saying. I just want to put the finer point that a beautiful open space isn't necessarily the same as a common area, and just think about that as you're having these conversations.
If I could interject, I think it's both a common area and it's a street. It's both. It meets it both ways. They're just rear load.
I mean, I think you're looking out at the commercial property, you're looking out at a soccer field. I don't see the argument.
And the fronts of the houses are on the street, correct?
That is correct.
The fronts of the houses are on this 12-foot wide gravel farm access road, and I think that's where my hesitation comes from.
No, aren't the front of the house, those aren't the fronts of the houses, are they?
They are.
Oh,
Those are the fronts.
The garage is in back, okay.
Right, because the SEQ requires garages to be set back at least 8 feet from the front of the house.
Yeah, I'm fine with
The
that.
LDR. Okay. Thank you.
This would mimic other spots in South Village.
I don't know, I think it kind of sounds very pastoral, especially with the elevation and the potential for views. I don't know, I think it's fine.
Yeah, if you don't like the farm, you wouldn't want to live there. But if you like everything else, you would. I like looking at a gravel road.
I appreciate the thoughtful conversation. I just wanted to make sure that the thoughtful conversation actually happened.
Thank you, Marla. Appreciate that. In phase one, the applicant created a compact development with intentional and demarcated common open space where excess space was available. In general, staff notes that the home proposed on lot 11 are spaced farther apart than those located elsewhere in phase one. The rears of the homes have long driveways compared to phase one, and the homes are spaced farther from their immediate neighbors. A more compact layout could yield a development pattern matching phase one. If there's concern about a private yard space, this could be achieved by creating a detached garage at the lane and locating a yard between the garage and the homes. So I think the comment is suggesting that these homes were moved closer together. There would be some more private yard space rather than evenly spaced out as they are right now. I don't know. What do you say to that, Robin?
Part of the comment we didn't understand because we double checked the driveways and primarily they are only the length of one car length. These are minimal footprints we put on here. What we wanted to be able to allow, because these are going to be workforce and affordable homes, was to have some width between them, because an affordable addition would be a patio that might someday evolve to be a 3-season room. That is not yet taken into consideration at this level. We really wanted to know that we had your support on this layout. We can continue to look at that, but definitely want these folks that buy these homes to have the ability to add on side to side and not bump into each other with the 5-foot setbacks that we have. Does that make sense?
What you're looking at, again, because this is, like Robin said, affordable and workforce product. These buildings are about only 41, 42 foot wide as shown. So Robin's point is that we consider this sketch. So we get sketch, and that to us means like it's a horse race. Now we can get real. So we will be obviously working on these footprints, but we may need room, so they may be closer together.
They also, in general, are smaller than the other footprints that you're looking at in South Village because they are the workforce housing.
Yeah, the homes are smaller. That's why there's more.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's happening at the end here on Allen Road East? I mean, obviously we're still at sketch, but I mean, given what we've done with other projects, understanding what's happening here. Yes, exactly.
So this is the bike path. The bike path comes all the way down here, and it connects to where there's currently a dead end at the bottom of Allen Road East. There's just a dead end stub. So this will be the final length of the bike path, and it will connect. It exists up at the top of right-hand corner is where it dead ends, where it comes down from lot 48N. So this would all be bike paths.
These two homes here, Robin, would there be a front entrance? Is the front entrance on Farmway, or is it on Allen Road East for these two homes?
They will matriculate
the duplex.
Allen Road East. The side that's on Allen Road East will matriculate towards Allen Road East. And that's where I was sharing a little bit earlier that they will appear to be, if you're driving down the road, it's going to appear to be a single family home with a side load garage that faces Allen Road East.
Right.
So it mirrors the streetscape somewhat. It will look like it's fronting on Allen.
But they both have, so these homes, this half of the duplexes will have two entrances, because there's also the mark off of the other roads there.
They'll probably have a sidewalk that goes that way, but the full front porch will face Allen Road East on those two units. Where the front walk is to Allen Road East.
Right, but is there a front door on Allen Road East and on the Farm Road, or no?
The front door will just be on Allen Road East. There may be a back door.
Right.
Or two doors, but there will be.
Right.
It will have a matching facade to what's across the street. So a front porch with a front door and a front walk.
Excellent.
I have a number of these in
Got it.
South Village, where they're on corner lots. If you drive around, you can.
There's at least a half a dozen that are set up like that in South Village already.
And so that will be similar. That's fantastic. Good.
Yes.
Southernmost homes are oriented to North Jefferson and to the farm access road. Staff recommends the board discuss whether these homes should face Allen Road to be consistent with the homes on the side of Allen Road. So this is over, okay, southernmost homes, North Jefferson.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, these are the ones. Okay. So, great. Okay. Are there any other questions about the 11 to 22 homes and the 11 buildings on this lot, or should we move to 48?
I think you've answered our question.
Public comment as well, before you 48, since they're sort of different.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Marla. Okay, at this time, there'll also be an opportunity to comment on lot 48N, which we'll hear next, but encompassing the commercial space, the 22 homes, the soccer field, that is lot 11 and the open space. If there's anyone that would like to comment on that specific agenda from the public, now would be a good time to do it. And you can do that by either saying your name or entering your name in the chat box and saying that you want to comment.
Maggie Caldwell.
Hi, Maggie. Is there anyone other than Maggie that would like to comment? Okay. Go ahead, Maggie. You have 3 minutes. Tell us what you think about this project.
Great, thank you so much. I just have a couple comments, and some of these are maybe informational things that I could follow up with afterwards. But we appreciate all the effort and thought that's being put into these plans and trying to make that the area, you know, inviting to the community, both the city and the neighbors of South Village. That said, the increased traffic on Spear Street and some concerns about increase of noise on Spear Street related to the development of these plots, you know, the different sections of 11 in particular, are very concerning, as well as water issues with drainage and runoff and things of that nature, since it's quite a sloping, you know, piece of land all the way over, you know, from the marshlands behind the other side of South Village down towards Shelburne Road. Any sort of work that's done can have a domino effect on water table and things related to that. So those are just some of the concerns that I know have come up amongst neighbors in conversation all along Spear Street. So just wanted to make sure that we know who to follow up with, be it the city or be it South Village or the Development Review Board, to get more information on how those things will be handled.
Great. Thank you, Maggie. You should absolutely follow up with staff and participate in the next stage of review, which is preliminary plat, in which this project, if the applicant chooses to go forward, will have more details. They'll also have to make sure that they comply with state regulations regarding about groundwater and stormwater mitigation. That's a requirement of the project before they get approval from the state. Is there any other public comments at this time specifically on lot 11? Any of the 3 projects proposed for lot 11? Hearing none and
Matt,
seeing none in the chat box.
Matt, this is Jim.
Go ahead. Hi, Jim.
This is Jim. So just to sort of follow up on Maggie's comment there. I mean, it's not necessarily specifically on this, but just as all sort of developments, especially one here that has a limited commercial use and basically a new public park with parking is how the sort of traffic gets, figured out here, the sort of making left turns onto Spear Street is just going to become increasingly dangerous as we continue to add things. So it's not necessarily specific to this project, but I brought this up before with other developments that will be adding queues to trying to get for people to try to get onto Spear Street. I think there needs to be maybe more engagement on the by the city in addressing this, because I think it's just going to become sort of an increasing problem.
Jim, Dave also here. Hi, just following up there, just a reminder, that particular intersection of Allen Road and Spear Street actually is signalized today. And that,
Oh yeah, Dave, I certainly understand that it has Dave, I certainly understand that there's a signal there. It's the adding of the, we have 50 parking spots, the line of people, it's the people that live at the intersections that don't have any signals, that are and don't have access to signals, that then could potentially be sort of forced into sort of a more dangerous situation. In busy times of day, it's definitely difficult.
I would like to. Yeah, I agree with that. This is Maggie Caldwell again. It can be unbelievably difficult pulling out of the driveways along that street. In addition to pedestrian and bicycles, the speed at which the traffic is traveling and then suddenly stopping, and getting backed up at that Allen Road light is already, even at this point, without all of the other developments along Spear being finished, becoming a significant issue.
Great. Thank you, Maggie. Thanks, Jim, for that comment. Are there any other public comments, or go ahead, Patrick.
I just wanted to give everybody the good news. While I agree Spear Street has its challenges, the good news is we have done a preliminary traffic analysis. Certainly will be formalized for preliminary, but with the removal of the 100-student school, in the addition of potentially up to 9,000 square feet, in the addition of the soccer field in that parking area, because one thing we have to keep in mind was the school originally had a soccer field as well. But my point being is that the analysis shows that we are going to have a reduction in PM, AM in total volumes, leaving the project if this was approved versus master plan.
This is Jim again. That is good news. I think so I would agree that this probably, a traffic analysis is probably going to show that intersection is fine. It's just, I think the city needs to look perhaps a little broader at the intersections like Nolan Farm Road and Stonehenge, where there are no signals, and when you keep on adding traffic to it, it just becomes it becomes a dangerous situation, especially since there are so many cyclists on this route as well. It's an accident waiting to happen. So, but again, that's just a general comment that I think the city needs to consider. That's beyond the LDRs. And I'll get off my soapbox.
Jim, I appreciate your point. And I would love to have another conversation about some of the traffic considerations, because I think that there's some things upcoming in the city that either potential changes in the regulations or other projects in the pipeline, that a deeper understanding and your own perspective would be really valuable. So give me a call. Let's talk about it.
All right. Sign me up.
All right. Moving on to 48N, which is SD 2032. Okay, so 48N, just to reiterate, is staff has covered a cover memo to the board includes Board approves lot 48M for up to 9. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm reading the right part. Staff has prepared a cover letter describing the context of this application. This proposal for this lot operates largely independently from the proposals of Lot 11. The board in MS 1930 approved an overall affordability plan for South Village. Findings of MS 1930 relevant to this application is the board approves Lot 48N for up to 9 units subject to site plan review. The applicant must include at least 3 and no more than 4 of affordable housing in triplex, duplex, or single-family homes, and those affordable units must be built at a ratio of 1 affordable to 1 market rate until all affordable units on Lot 48N are constructed. So the first staff comment is regarding to minimum lot size. Staff supports a minimum lot size and a coverage waiver for duplexes and recommends the board ask the applicant to propose a specific waiver request regarding to dimensional standards and lot sizes. Robin, what is your take on that?
Thank you. We're grateful. We will.
Yeah. Okay. Southeast Quadrant District, staff comment number 2. The applicant has proposed a layout drawing where they show one shading of a color for the first 200 feet of the proposed dead-end roadway and a second color for the remaining segment. They've also included a hammerhead turnaround at the end of the first 200 feet. Staff infers the applicant is proposing that the segment after the first 200 feet be a driveway. Is that right?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Okay, 2 multifamily buildings with a shared driveway would allow the roadway requirements to be met. Further, a configuration with 1 triplex facing Preserve Road and 2 triplexes with a shared driveway would also meet the roadway requirements. Though staff considers the exact cross sections do not create a roadway followed by a driveway, staff recommends the board first consider whether the conceptual configuration may meet the required standard and intent. The board may not approve a dead-end roadway greater than 200 feet in length. It appears the applicant is proposing a 200-foot roadway and a shared driveway for the remaining 2 buildings. If the board considers this configuration to be conceptually acceptable, staff notes there are no obligation to do so. Staff recommends the board that require the applicant to better demarcate the change from roadway to driveway, including the reduced width, change in surface, and change in street lights, trees, and lighting. All right, can we take a look at this? Can we get a better handle on this? Driveway versus roadway.
So the darker area with the curb cut in from Preserve Road is this piece right here.
Yep.
Ends at 200 feet. And we agree that this section should be curbed. And then you would come down to a slightly narrower part, which would be the driveway section, which would not be curbed, so that you would definitely be able to tell the difference between a road and a driveway. Does that make sense?
As staff suggests, there may also be other demarcations we could come forth that preliminary with.
Carla, does curbing help in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Resolve this?
But I want to make sure we address the first half of the comment, which is this concept of 200 feet of road followed by another 200 feet or so of driveway allowable? I agree with, if the board says yes to that question, then I think that curbing and slightly reduced with and looking at other options is probably the way to go. But I think that it needs to be a conversation about, no more than 200 feet on a dead end road isn't really meeting that.
Matt, Mark here. I personally have an issue with it because there's a reason we're supposed to not have more than 200 feet on a dead end road. And it's sort of like coming up with a loophole just to allow it. You call one part driveway, one part road, and just demarcate it differently just to allow it to happen. I had issue with that.
So this road is exactly 200 feet?
Yes.
So if you shave off a foot, then all of a sudden you're fine?
You could shave off a foot, make it 199 feet.
So the point is that 100 feet, the purpose of that limitation is to not have dead end streets that people later want this to take over and maintain. This would have to be a private roadway. And the CQ has always had a limitation as 200 feet.
And is there anything, what's on the other side of this dead end street? Nothing that would ever be continued? I'm trying to figure out where this is.
It's the farm.
It's the farm.
Oh, it's the farm.
It would not ever, we would
As long
never
as the
want
farm's
to
there.
extend it any further.
Matt, in the past, we've argued or we've justified or rationalized, whatever term you want to use, for dead-end roads longer than 200 feet, because it was obviously, whether it happened or not, but it had the ability to be a connector to a future parcel for development.
That's right.
Right. We've said, okay, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but if it does, that's where the connection is going to happen. And so we've used that as a justification. Here, there's no future connection that could potentially happen. So we really are allowing a roadway longer than 200 feet with a dead end. Just because we have a part of it that's curved, part of it that's called different with a hammerhead turnaround, it really is a road that's longer than 200 feet.
And if it's a private road, then the homeowners association maintains it. Right? We allow
Yes.
it. We allow that.
That would be
Oh,
our
I don't
intention
know.
for it to be an alley, same as other alleys.
But if I may.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you. So, this lot and its design has been battered around with staff for 4 or 5 years. And we wouldn't have proposed it, nor would it have been, wouldn't be on the screen in front of you if it didn't meet the ordinance. So
I'm sorry,
I
Patrick.
do feel-
We said that this is something that you were welcome to put in front of the board and ask them if they thought it met the ordinance. We never said that we thought it met the ordinance. We said
Yes,
that,
I agree with you, but
it's an interpretation.
But Marla, I believe Robin would back me up, and Paul would too, that this specific design in the roadway and the layout of these homes was your idea. But I think I might have an
We
answer.
said there's a potential that the board could allow this configuration, and we recommend you ask them.
Yes, but I thought of something that goes back to, I think it may have been Mark's comment, but the idea that this potentially could be called a road, a dead-end road that could potentially be improved or extended in the future. Now, when we say future, like you had said, there's been many reasons why the applicant has been conditioned to build up to the property line. So maybe we could say, well, maybe this just needs to be a road to the end that could be built in the future, because the future is 100 years. I mean, there's nothing to say that in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, because of whatever reason, that road could be extended through the farm.
Sure. The land development regulations could change. Someone else could buy this property 50 years and turn it into a housing development. Anything's possible. But what's probable right now, I mean, our choices are: you turn this into a private alley, or you are. What's the downside on turning this into a private alley road? Accessibility.
We thought the same rule applied, the 200 feet.
it's not a public versus private question. We're proposing this be private, under the definition of a private road, and then it would turn into the definition of a private driveway. So definition-wise, it meets the ordinance as far as the number of units that can be on the road and driveway. We're just asking for you know, like Marla said, your opinion on whether you like the design or not.
I would add that it's critical for us to make our affordable
No, I
plan work
understand.
to get the
Yeah,
8
no, I
unit.
get it.
Delilah, can you go back to the page from agenda item number 8 that shows the overall? Because then you can kind of see how this fits in with next.
Give me a second. Let
yeah.
me see if I still have it open. Hold on a second.
I think it's still that.
Is that page
13.
16 or 13?
You're looking for the overall development of all 48 with 11 and all of that, right?
Yeah, so it'd be page 13 of the 18-page PDF.
Of the oh, okay. In this agenda item?
In agenda item number 8.
Oh, agenda item number 8. There. 13?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're in a different PDF. That's fine. Just page 4.
Oh, 4. 4? Not this one?
Nope, page 4. You're on 7.
You don't want the Google Earth?
Nope. That one. So you can kind of see how lot 48N fits with the lots across to the right. So the lots across are duplexes with their rears facing 48N, and then these homes would have their fronts facing on this path. So I just wanted to just kind of show how this little neighborhood snippet fits together.
And then that wide gray stripe going through is the bike path, which is installed. And then there is a photograph that we sent in today that shows actually how this looks. It's a beautiful naturalized area right now. A couple of small trees, a lot of wildflowers.
To the east or to the right of the bike path, is that the natural area?
Where you see the goldenrod in this picture that Delilah's showing right now, the bike path runs right through there. And where you see short grass to the left is where the new units are proposed. And the very long skinny rectangle, this picture is standing at the southern end of it looking north. And then the backs of the houses to the right are the backs of those existing houses on North Jefferson.
I see.
And then just to add more information while we're here, there was a condition in the phase 2 approvals that split rail fence in sections of 10 feet be added to the backyards, or actually around this rectangle. They're supposed to be placed 10-foot sections every 10 feet or so. So there's 20-foot openings and then 10-foot sections to delineate this as a natural area, so that there wouldn't be backyard creep or front yard creep for that matter.
Right.
It's pretty.
So what I just try to grapple with the options here as you go into preliminary plat and want to be able to, you know, get a consensus of the board.
Thank you.
What are the options are to develop this parcel to put the 9 units that is it 9? Do I have that right?
There's 8.
8 affordable units on this parcel, and yet not have a 200-foot dead end road. That road can't be tied into Jefferson because it ends right there. you can't really loop because you're in such a skinny parcel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of options here that I can see.
There aren't.
Well,
We've tried this every
it's John, one of the problems is that it feels like one road all the way through with a hammerhead in the middle of it. It doesn't feel like a driveway. It doesn't come to a little cul-de-sac and then have a smaller road running off of it as if it's a driveway. It's one width running front to back with a hammerhead in the middle of it to call itself a road, the end of the road. And it seems, I don't know, it seems goofy to me. I understand what we're trying to do. I think it's just a design issue. I'm inclined to try to do our best to approve it, but it doesn't feel like a driveway. It feels like a road attached to a road that attaches to 4 more units. So this is purely for me an aesthetic issue that it just doesn't feel right.
Can you get rid of the hammerhead and then position the houses so you could have an actual cul-de-sac to loop around and come back if you happen to drive down this road and realize you're in the wrong section? Or is the only way to do it through can you have a cul-de-sac on a private lane, private alley?
The fire department didn't like cul-de-sacs.
I don't think that there's room for the circumference of a cul-de-sac that a vehicle could navigate around circuitously. I mean, you could make the hammerhead round, but it wouldn't serve any different purpose than the hammerhead. In order for a dump truck or a garbage truck to service that area, it really does need the hammerhead or someplace where a dump truck can back up and then front out again. And trash truck service is important.
It's just that tight. It's, if you had another 10 feet on the other side, it'd be one thing, but given the size, it is what it is.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind, the irony of it is, some of you may recall when we came in here and we proposed 2 12-plexes. We went from there. We've tried basically everything on this lot, and I think honestly, as far as the concept and the design, we've put our best foot forward. The only exception being is that this has not been formally designed by a professional landscape architect, who we would certainly engage. And maybe if you all could agree with the concept, we hear you loud and clear that there does need to be more differentiation between what is a road and a driveway. And there's multiple ways that we could achieve that. I'm not a design professional, so my brain tells me maybe we could put up some different type of fence or some bollards or something, but I'm sure the professionals could work their magic on it.
Even a gate. Good thinking.
So how do you, because I'm inclined to agree with John about the necessity of the aesthetic issue of the hammerhead in the middle of these 4 duplexes. How do you mitigate that and still being compliant? I mean, is the hammerhead necessary, or is there another way?
The hammerhead serves as the little hammerhead serves as a turnaround, and I believe that's a requirement in the LDRs to have at the end of a dead end road. The cul-de-sac doesn't fit. But one thing that, going back to aesthetics, if we're talking aesthetics, and maybe this is viewed as what it is, which is, yes, it's a driveway and yes, it's a road, but really what it is, it's an access way into really just a little condominium project. So at the end of the day, I think when you're driving in there or walking in there and not looking at it from a bird's eye view, I think it's not going to be. I think it's going to work just great. And if it's a little weird, it's a little weird. That's okay.
I think the key point for you going forward and for us is to make sure that this is to come back with preliminary plat with the same configuration that it's going to meet the LDRs as we take a further examination into it. Because as you put resources towards figuring out if this is the configuration of the road, we'll have to spend some more time figuring out if this complies with LDRs. And I'm not comfortable making that determination right now. I need to look at it more. I don't know if the board members.
Sorry, Matt.
So if the board members have strong feelings right now, I'm just not comfortable saying one way or the other. But
would it be possible for you to consult with a landscape architect and say, here's the problem, here are the limitations, are there any creative design ideas that person might have?
Yes, let me back up. We did consult with TJ Boyle and Associates, who has done half a dozen layouts on this parcel, the last of which is the one you see. But what we didn't charge him with, because we didn't want to spend the money till we get to sketch, is a full, complete landscape design. And Mr. Chairman, the nervousness that I have in regards to meeting the LDR, I mean, I'm very confident that in my reading of the LDRs and of staff's reading of the LDRs that this meets the LDRs, but on the same token, it's the first of its kind. So I think that both staff and us, the applicant, would like is looking for some feedback from the board before we spend the engineering money to go forward with this, because we've already asked staff that very question.
If the driveway was a different material, how would that work? If we went to a more narrow concrete driveway, or something where you changed materials, you went from asphalt to concrete, or pervious concrete or something.
Yeah, Matt,
Go ahead,
can I
Mark.
weigh in? So,
Yeah, go ahead.
Robin, I think that might be a differentiating point. And I think that, Patrick, you may have to just accept it and eat it and spend some engineering money or some aesthetic landscape, design fees. Because right now I look at this and it just doesn't feel like the rest of the development in terms of that sort of back alley feel. It feels like a road with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single family driveways off of it. It doesn't feel like it has the right scale to it. But I think that, if you look at it, because it looks like each of those driveways is designed to fit, 2 car depths. They look oversized to me. And again, I know we're just looking at in bird's eye view, but I think if you were to come back to us with a proposal, like with a differentiation of driveway material, so that you feel like you're at the end of the road and there's a hammerhead and then another road continues on. To me, that would feel like it's not just one long road with, 4 duplexes off of it. So I need more convincing to see that before I can offer my opinion one way or another, where I get your nervousness, Patrick, I get your nervousness, but you're asking for the first of its kind. So we need a little more, proof for it. not saying I can't be swayed, but I need to see it, to believe it, that it's a 200-foot road with a hammerhead turnaround at the end of it, and then a driveway that extends beyond it.
So one suggestion is some sort of intermediate step where sketch for this item is continued. So rather than fully investing in all of the rest of the things that go with a preliminary plat application, you know, surveys and grading
Yeah,
of things,
we
maybe
just
we
see
continue this.
A sketch
We could
that's
fit it
at
probably
another
on-
level from aesthetics. Yeah, it don't have to go through the full engineering on it. I would
But we
agree.
could hear this again in a couple of weeks or in a month and, you know, have some more detail on just that element of it.
And just how soon could we be back in front of you?
Well, so we would need everything 2 weeks before the hearing. So the soonest we could get you on would be October 6th. So that would give you 2 weeks to
I'm
do
sorry, I missed
work.
it.
And 2 weeks for us to review it.
And that would just be, Robin and Patrick, that would just be this sketch 48 SD 2032 for the purposes of this, unless we see something else in the well.
Okay. So 1 month, right? Is that what we understood?
Yeah, for a continuation of sketch.
Can we hear your thoughts on, is it the houses facing the common element? Are we good with that?
Yeah, well, I am good with that.
Thank you.
I'm good with, you
Steph,
mean over on 11? Did you?
Steph, with the board.
I mean 48N. I was asking for 48N. These units also front on that little park that we looked at. It's actually a natural area that we looked at the image of.
This is the staff comment number 3, the proposed home orientation. And if so, they require the applicant to better delineate the open space on both sides so it is functions as usable open space for all residents.
So that's to the east, Robin?
Yeah. Yes, it's that empty rectangle that looks white here, but then we just looked at the photograph of it and it's actually beautiful wildflowers and a couple of trees.
Okay.
And then the previous
This would not
approval. Go ahead.
This would not be a functional open space. This would be an only visual open space.
It could be either.
And the comment that says delineate open space on both sides, are we talking about to the west of the alley road or the road there? Are we talking about both sides, like north and south?
East of the alley, between the existing homes and the proposed homes.
So on the east, we had planned to mimic the phase 2 existing delineation, which requires those sections of 10-foot split rail fence set apart by roughly 20 feet. And then on the west side, we plan to continue the white rail farm fence that's currently encircling the farm, but it stops right at where this road curb cut would be.
Got it.
So do you have 2 sidewalks next to each other on the east? In your current plans?
We have 1 sidewalk and a rec path. One of the bike path.
So one of the questions, as you can see, there is, yeah, blow that right up.
Patrick is not on this drawing. It's on because this is the 2nd generation. The 3rd generation, which was with the application, shows the sidewalk and the bike path. This shows the units connecting directly to the bike path.
Okay, So one of our questions is, as Robin mentioned, we show on the application package a sidewalk paralleling the bike path. It's about 20 feet to the west of the existing bike path. We placed that sidewalk in there because there was a discussion as to whether or not that was needed to meet a common element. We felt that the bike path was a common element, but we also wanted to show the sidewalk just in case the board felt that no, a sidewalk needs to be a common element. So if the board is in favor of calling the bike path a common element, we won't need a parallel sidewalk.
Hey, it's John. I don't see any point in that sidewalk at all.
I tend to agree.
This is Brian. I agree as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep. Okay. Back to staff comments.
Hey, one sec, Matt. One sec. If the sidewalk disappears, can the houses be pushed further to the east, and do you have more ability to meander the driveway portion of the road?
Oh, that's a good thought.
Great.
It might give us 5 feet more to just shift everything a little bit. That would change the appearance of the driveway. Distinguish the driveway from the road.
Yeah, I think that can work.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. I think.
Continuing staff comment. Go ahead, Patrick.
I'll wait till you're done because I want to address the first question in regards to if we should table or not. So let's continue the review and we'll go back to that.
All right. The overall configuration of the homes, the driveways, and the lane appear to be more space consumptive than the arrangement of the adjacent phase 2 of Jefferson Road. Since this is effectively a rectangular lot, staff considers reducing the size of the lots in both dimensions would result in creation of more significant and functional common space at the front of the lots without necessitating any alteration to the general configuration. Staff recommends the board direct the applicant to consider a lot size reduction as they incorporate feedback on configuration. So let me take a closer look.
Boy, I think these look like smaller homes on smaller lots.
They are. If you'll compare them to the footprint to the right, these lots are about the size of these houses.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions about that comment? Is there a desire to reduce the lot size?
I say no.
I think the staff comment here was the homes are not using the whole lot, so why is the lot so big? And I don't write all of the staff comments.
So again, this is just a function of putting something in front of you conceptually, and certainly, we've already talked internally that once we come back at preliminary and we drill down in our designs, that certainly, for example, there may be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 feet of the end of this lot that could go back to the farm for the farm's use. But at least for this exercise, we wanted to show it as is, because again, when we work with an architect, etc., these might grow a little bit. So our goal will be to narrow them up as much as possible. The intent was not to give them as much lawn as possible. It was just to get something in front of you.
Boy, Patrick, you know, it's workforce housing and it's nice to actually have a little lawn there too. So I don't think you've overdone it at all.
I agree with you, John, that they are smaller houses and the outside area is going to be valuable space for these families.
So before we pick up that pin and go back to the road design, this might be the opportunity for anyone who has a comment specific to lot 48N, to these 8 homes, these 4 duplexes. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment specifically on this? Please enter your name in the chat box or just say your name. Okay, not hearing any or not seeing anything, then I think we could, Robin, return to the issue of whether we continue this to hear more about your roadway design, or whether you're comfortable with what we've expressed to be able to come back with preliminary plat and spend the resources for that. Go ahead, Patrick.
I just want to make sure I understand. Mark, you had said, and unfortunately, because you were coming in and out, at least on my mic, I wasn't 100% sure of what it was you were trying to articulate. So if you could just please repeat yourself, I would appreciate that.
Sure. Basically, what I was saying is that right now, it feels like it's not in aesthetic scale with the rest of the development, these back alleys with the driveways off of them. It feels like a road with 4 large driveways for single family homes, even though the asphalt to footprints is way out of scale from what I see in the rest of the development. And I think you're going to have to spend some time with landscape architecture, softening it up and proving it to me that it's a 200-foot road with a hammerhead turnaround that then continues on with a driveway. So it's a scale and material issue. And I think that it can be done. And I think that it can read differently. So it doesn't read as a 400-foot long, city road that has, 4 single family driveways off of it.
And
Okay,
if you
and,
take the sidewalk off, you got a little bit more play in there.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, understanding that, unfortunately, I can't run out into the hallway with Robin and have a quick discussion, but I think what we'd like to do in the interest of not losing 30 days, because 30 days turns into 60 and 90, and we want to get these, get through the permit process and get these built hopefully this late this winter, or summer, is to close the hearing and let us come back to you and happily surprise you with our efforts.
That's fine. We don't vote to close. We just simply not continue, and you're welcome to come back at preliminary plat and we can discuss this further.
Yes.
So are there any other questions you have for us before you go out on that venture?
No.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Well, thank you, and we'll see you at preliminary plat.
Thank you all very much.
Yep.
Good night.
Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is the minutes from July 21st and August 4th. Have we had a chance to review those?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to move that we accept
Ooh, you're quick.
February 19th. And
No, we
wait,
don't have February 19th. We just have the 21st and the 4th.
Yeah, I'm gonna see about getting that February 19th off of there.
Yeah. I wasn't even on the board then, but I'm
No,
moving
I know.
on those minutes.
It was one of those meetings,
Okay.
the last one we had at the police station. And I'm just concerned because it was an important meeting and I'm concerned about not having proper minutes for it, but I'll work on it.
Okay, so Don has made the motion to approve the minutes from July 21st and August 4th. Is there a second?
Second, John.
Seconded by John. Roll call, Brian,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Minutes pass 6-0. Okay, other items on the agenda. And the last other business, excuse me, is something that I'm recused from, as is Brian. So this is where I say goodbye.
Night, Matt.
Okay, you're in charge, Mark.
Yep. Good night,
Brian.
everybody.
Night.
All right, so this is Mark Bear. I'm taking over as temporary chair for this one agenda item. This is a request for reconsideration for RL Valley 793 and 907 Shelburne Road for site plan application SB 1939. They've asked for reconsideration of one item. And it is, so I'll just read it. Motion to reconsider RL Valley Inc., Skipco Inc., and Phoenix 2 LLC, the applicants hereby request the Development Review Board, DRB, reconsider a certain 21-page decision, that decision being a site plan application filed by the applicant dated July 13, 2020. Applicant wanted a copy of the first page of the decision. The applicants request the DRB to reconsider at least a portion of the decision, including page 6, in which the DRB ruled that the applicants were illegally expanding a gas station use by using the lot located at 793 Shelburne Road to the lot located at 907 Shelburne Road, and because sales of fuel will also take place on the lot at 907 Shelburne Road. In fact, no portion of any fuel sale will occur on that lot. Is there anyone for the applicant here tonight? Hearing none. Marla, I forgot. Do we even, we as a board, we've discussed this in deliberations, and do we need to make a motion or vote on it tonight, or are we just saying that we will consider it in deliberations or in deliberative session at a later time?
The board is not obligated to make a decision, but
okay.
Practice has been to make a decision in public on a reconsideration request. If the board feels comfortable making a decision in public on this one, it would certainly help the applicant because they would have it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm fine with making a motion in public for the request for reconsideration. Does the rest of the board feel on this?
Fine with me.
Yep.
Same.
Yep. So I will take the lead. I make a motion that we do not reopen this for reconsideration.
I'll
Second.
that.
Okay. John, Don, I didn't quite get it.
We seconded it and thirded.
Okay. Well, second by John. Okay. Marla, should we do roll call or just voice call?
Roll call, please.
Okay. So let's see, who do we have here? All right. Roll call, Jim Langdon.
So the motion was to deny.
Correct. Oh, wait, so
Aye.
we have to make every motion in the affirmative, correct?
However you want to do it. I think that's a different circumstance.
All right, so the motion is to not reopen it. So if you don't want to reopen it, you vote in the affirmative.
Aye.
John Wilking.
Aye.
Don Philibert.
Aye.
And Mark Bear, I vote aye. I think that's all we have here for the board. Okay, so the motion to reconsider does not pass. Anything else, Marla?
If you all could hang on for a couple quick deliberations on things that were closed tonight, I will dismiss members of the public and close the meeting.
Sure.
All right, so thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you on September 15th.
Yep.